Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Petersen. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Happy Friday. Hope you're feeling good. Nice to have you here. We appreciate all the listeners of the Wake Up America show. If you're a regular watcher of the show, you know what to do. You know what to do. Make sure you click that like button as you file in and sit down. If today's your very first time watching the show, you're not familiar with the content, but you're saying to yourself, wow, this is good stuff. I really like this. I'd like to hear more of it. Then make sure you subscribe on whichever platform that you're watching us on. The Wake Up America show is every Monday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. And we do a 2-hour show, and we think it's really exciting and fun. Fridays are always very special because they're family Fridays, which means I bring in my lovely wife, Stephanie Petersen, who's joining us right now. Let's give her a little round of applause.
Hello.
How you doing, Steffi? Nice to see you.
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm waking up.
And
I loved that it was actually light when we drove in today.
That's because we overslept. And on very special Family Fridays, we have another family member that comes in, Justin Petersen, joining us all the way from Boston.
Yeah.
He's here with us right now. Boston is actually the place which was like the epicenter of the search.
Really?
For the Titan submarine.
No way. Oh my gosh.
And Justin is our resident Titanic expert. So good morning, Justin.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Austin. Good morning, Steffi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Justin. A top secret military acoustic detection system designed to spot enemy submarines first heard what the U.S. Navy suspected was the Titan submersible implosion hours after the submersible began its voyage. In other words, Justin, they knew.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm still trying to put together from this story is timeline. Because I read there's an article in the Wall Street Journal that was talking about this situation, and it said that once comms or communication was lost, which was about it was about an hour and 45 minutes into this descent. So again, reminder, 2 hours to get to the Titanic, roughly.
Oh, it takes 2
hours in the
hours.
descent.
Okay.
Yeah. So a minute 45 in, the comms were lost. And then the article said that the Navy began to listen through their, I guess they're called hydrophones, which are under the water. There's believe it or not, there's microphones under the water in the ocean.
That's so weird. I didn't even realize that.
I guess it's like spy technology, right?
Yeah,
so they
submarine detection technology.
I wonder what would happen if you found the microphone like while you're scuba diving or something, you know?
I don't know, because they're pretty low down there. They're pretty low down there. But so my question is, okay, great. So comms was lost. And then they said that the Navy began to listen for stuff, and then they heard an implosion. So my question is, because I haven't seen anybody make this, observation. How long between comms being lost and implosion was there? Because that window could be either very short or very long. And if it's long, that to me tells me that the people in the vessel had time to kind of go, oh, we've lost our communication, something's going off, something's wrong. Even though obviously we know from all the from the scientific from the scientific explanations that death in those circumstances is instantaneous. In fact, I was reading that the milliseconds of time that would have taken was faster than the brain's ability to register pain.
Yeah, we're going to get into that and just what an implosion is here in just a couple of minutes. Chris Morrill over in the live stream says, now my wife can get on with her life. She became obsessed with this thing.
Hey, so did I.
So did I. I mean, I wasn't the only one. And, obviously, Justin, your obsession with the Titanic over the years has, fueled my more than casual interest in it, just because, seeing the depth of your fascination to it is, and, the explanation of why so many people are so obsessed with this ship, made this such a riveting tale. And I'm sure, billions of people around the world felt the exact same way. It was all anybody could talk about and watch in the last few days. And boy, it was a terrible response from many people around the world, which, I never mind jokes or things like that. I posted there were lots of funny memes and things like that. But there were people who actually were wishing death upon these people.
Oh, that's horrible.
Out of sheer envy.
And these are the same people that want to control your health care, I might add.
Right.
And they claim to care about migrants, But I saw this video the other day when they were doing a protest in favor of migrants, and they were asking them how many people would take in migrants from that protest in their home, and nobody had enough room. Funnily enough,
Watch that
Well,
video.
that,
for
yeah.
Oh, my house is too small.
my sister,
I can't.
I'm a renter. There's just not enough room, right? Oh, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're saying.
Well,
Because I kept seeing all these memes where they're like, "Oh, go and yeah, they're going to try and save all these billionaires, but they won't save the migrants,
right,
off the coast of Italy whose boat
right.
is sinking."
Which they
Um,
honestly didn't care about until this situation happened, you see.
exactly.
Like, this migrant situation happened last week. And so, it's amazing how many people's profiles were empty of any discussion of this migrant situation until
Oh.
this particular situation happened. I think the thing I've learned about the ideology that's behind a lot of these people's worldviews is that the goal is to rob you of your epistemic and your moral authority. That we're going to police and gatekeep the things that you can care about. And they obviously think that we're stupid enough to think that we can't care about two things at the same time. We
Well,
can't
I think
say,
some of us are stupid enough.
Yeah,
yeah,
clearly,
Seems like society
yeah,
does follow in a lot of ways.
clearly,
oh
lots of
yeah,
people are that
oh yeah,
stupid.
oh yeah, yeah. It's
Well,
disappointing. And I just, yeah, it's really disappointing to me because, it's like a death cult. I
yeah,
mean,
we'll
really,
get
when
to
you,
the socialist bashing here in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit more. I don't know if you got to see any of the interviews with James Cameron yesterday,
Mm,
yes,
the famed
fascinating.
film
yes,
director. We watched him on CNN last night, and the U.S. Navy weren't the only people around the world who knew about this. Apparently, many in the submersible community knew as well.
yeah, James Cameron was saying that he knew within several hours. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think there's an explorers club of these
Mhm.
like of these really high, voyaging, I said ne'er-do-wells, these ne'er-do-wells who kind of go
Yeah, he said
around and
it's a
they
very
like,
small community and they're really, really close.
yes, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and so
So I
they all
think,
like
yeah,
talk together and stuff. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. And
I am shocked.
James Cameron was saying basically that he knew pretty much that they needed to look right where the water column was. They needed to look
Yeah,
on the ground, on the basically on the seafloor where
yeah.
they were going.
I just
And I
don't
was
get
like, wow,
why even people like him didn't tell anybody. It's like
right.
he's not sworn to secrecy, is he? Did he sign a contract that says I can't
No,
tell anyone outside of the
right.
submersible community?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like,
no. And then, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
my
And
morals
he
would tell
even,
me I need to tell somebody.
right. Well, he was saying that they were going around like with their hair on fire. And James Cameron was
Yes,
like, no, they needed to go right here to do this thing. And they didn't do that. And they
right.
didn't look where they should have looked.
And the
And
thing is, James Cameron said, he's like, maybe it was a researcher who told us, maybe it was the
uh,
government. I'm not
yeah,
exactly sure.
yeah,
He's basically saying, like, it's some anonymous person. I don't know who actually told me this information. He's like
right.
really trying to save somebody.
Well, and here,
Yeah.
James Cameron, he was not involved specifically in a letter that was sent to the company that manufactured this submarine, but there were a lot of warning signs, Justin, that this submarine
Yeah.
was not prepared for tourism.
No, the biggest thing for me in this situation is the fact that it was constructed out of carbon fiber.
Mhm.
Because one of the problems with carbon fiber, although it's a lighter weight material, it doesn't do cycling very well. And what I mean by cycling is that it needs to be able to have the ability to go from very high pressure to no pressure, to high pressure to no pressure, to high pressure to no pressure. So you need material that can withstand that cycling effect. It's one thing if you have material that's like going to stay there forever, right? Like, okay, it's down at the bottom of the ocean. But a submersible is constantly being cycled, not only through various pressures, but also temperatures. There's a variety of stuff going on. And I heard one
Yeah.
explorer on an interview who was saying that he didn't go in the machine, he didn't go into the submersible because one of the problems that he had was that he had no way to assess risk. There was no way for him to say, I don't even know what the risk is in this because there's been never anything constructed like this. So there's no way for me to evaluate, what are the dangers of doing this. But carbon
Right.
fiber is, speaking to the structural engineers and the people I've read online, they're like, yeah, it's not really a material that's meant to withstand this cycling process of being a submersible.
I wonder what material is usually used for something like this. Like, what does James Cameron use
Probably
for his?
100% titanium,
Yeah, it's
Oh,
titanium. I think it's titanium or like steel, or there's
okay.
some very, very intense, something that can withstand that level of. And also, this submersible was actually larger than most of the submersibles that have gone down to the Titanic.
Yeah.
Most submersibles only fit like 3 people, like, and that's
Mm.
very, very tight. So they're much smaller than this submersible was.
Stephanie and I were reading this morning about the 19-year-old young man who was on the
Oh,
boat, and apparently he was really not keen on this trip. Apparently, his father's had the Titanic obsession and really put a lot of pressure on him to go down with him on this ship, and he was not really super interested. So, out of all the
oh.
people on that boat, he's the one that I feel the most for.
Oh, same. And it was Father's Day, so he kind of felt like
Oh
for his
my
dad, he kind of
gosh.
needed to do, he wanted to support his dad's dream.
I
So
totally missed that Father's Day was on that day. Oh, that's even
yeah,
more horrible.
yeah. He's the kid I
Wow.
really feel bad for because he was just an innocent sort of victim here. I mean, they all were, but that
I
poor kid,
know.
he didn't want to go on that submersible, yeah, at all.
No, the one person on the ship who was very interesting to me was the Paul Henri Nargeolet.
Hmm.
I know this might seem callous, but honestly, think he probably would have liked to have gone this way.
I mean,
That
that's what, yeah, yeah. A lot of the people, the Titanic buffs that I've been, in contact with have said, if you have to go and you love the Titanic, I mean,
I mean,
it's almost
they're now
poetic.
part of the Titanic
Oh
story.
yeah, for really, yeah,
Yeah.
for serious.
Yeah.
He'd I think been to the Titanic 37 times,
Oh my
which
gosh.
when you think about it in terms of history, he had been near or around the Titanic for a longer period of time than even the captain of the Titanic had been on the
That's
Titanic.
amazing.
So yeah, he was sort of somebody said yesterday, losing him was a little bit like losing the wing of a library because he was such a
Mm,
repository of Titanic information and knowledge
yeah.
that it's a huge loss to our collected sort of intellectual property stuff on the Titanic. It was a major loss.
The CEO of this company, all the interviews that I'm seeing of this, just one red flag after another. And,
Yeah,
in terms of, oh, well, you're supposed to break the rules and all this stuff. And don't get me
yeah,
wrong, Justin, explorers have to take risks. People who are going to go out into space or, the first group of people that are going to go to
Mhm.
Mars. For all we know, they may make it to Mars, they may not make it to Mars. They may
right,
land safely on Mars, they may not. So
right.
I don't want to discourage exploration.
Which James Cameron agreed with. He's like, I know the risks when I go down and
Yeah,
I accept
But he
them.
doesn't take tourists. James
Correct.
Cameron goes
right.
down by himself.
That's right.
And if you're going to do something, James Cameron said, if you're going to take tourists down there, then it needs to be the kind of thing that is completely safe for tourists
Totally.
rather than an exploratory submarine. He says that from like 1960, whatever, until like today, there had never been a submersible accident involving
Hmm.
fatalities. Never.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Unbelievable.
The the idea that um well, safety, I keep coming back to this idea about safety, right? Yes, explore, yes, do things, but with safety you always feel like that shouldn't be up for grabs. The thing about regulations is that safety regulations are always written in blood, always, because
Mm,
somebody had to die for safety regulations to get better. Even with the Titanic, when the Titanic sank,
yeah.
you have to remember the lifeboats on the Titanic were what? We had 16 lifeboats, maybe 20 lifeboats on the Titanic. That was it. And it wasn't until that disaster occurred that people said, oh, actually, you know what? We need more lifeboats. Not only that, but we also need safety regulations for ice warnings and that we don't turn off the wireless machines. That was the other thing with the Titanic that they did. So at night,
Yeah.
the wireless operators would turn off the machine. It's like turning off your computer at night.
We saw that in A
So
Night to Remember just last night.
yeah,
Austin and I watched that wonderful movie. It's from the 1950s.
Yeah,
so it's
that
just a
was
pity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's a
was a pretty
pity.
good film we watched last night. I imagine that Amazon's just gonna be printing money this weekend renting Titanic, the James Cameron
Oh,
version.
And
oh
even the
yeah,
original, probably. All the
yeah,
Titanic things.
Yeah,
right,
Yes.
if you're
right.
just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Petersen. We're glad to have you here. Happy Friday. My lovely wife, Stephanie Petersen, is joining us right now, as well as my brother, Justin Petersen, who is in Boston, Massachusetts, which was the epicenter of the search for the missing Titan submarine, which we learned yesterday imploded, unfortunately, on the day that it took off for a trip to visit the Titanic. Um, Justin, going back to that CEO and many of his sort of ominous comments, I'm not really a very superstitious person, but renaming the submarine to like pretty much the exact same name as the Titanic The laws of the sea are very much. There's a lot of superstition in regards to sailors, and he kind of flouted all of the like typical, cross your fingers, don't walk under a. He walked under ladders. Black cats crossed his path, and he didn't pay any attention to any of that thing. But one comment that he made really stuck out, which has sort of galvanized the right in the last few days, were his comments about not wanting to hire white males because apparently people like you and I, Justin, are not inspirational. What was your take on that?
Well, I'm a person who always believes that when you inject race into things where they don't belong, I'm always wondering what are your motives? What are your motives in this? Um, I find that kind of rhetoric abhorrent personally. I mean, I think this race essentialism is just really gross. And he had no problem. We had no problem with white people coming in to save him, right? Like he's just. It's like,
Right.
and when the chips are down, it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's right. We're
I
all the
just
same. At the end of the day, we're all human.
right,
Hmm.
and so I just feel like that kind of rhetoric is just really divisive and doesn't have any place in you know
Do you think that there's a
in
chance that that kind of ideology, that non-merit based sort of approach to working on that submarine may have contributed to this disaster?
well, I don't know for sure, but I do know that like because what I've seen on from right Twitter,
Yeah.
is that the engineering world, the mathematics world to a degree have largely been immune from this particular woke ideology
Hmm.
because of you can't do it. You can't do engineering with there's so much science behind it with what James Lindsay I think but calls woke math. Like 2 + 2 = 5, right? You don't want to travel on a bridge that has been built with 2 + 2 = 5 math.
Right.
And so I mean I can't say that for sure. I do think that the CEO's sort of flouting of safety regulations to me, well, I mean, it's really the hubris idea. I mean, isn't it funny that the Titanic, which sort of overestimated itself, and now this submarine, which overestimated itself,
It was
uh,
unsinkable.
yeah, I mean, they're two parallel stories running 100
Yeah.
years apart. Um,
One of our listeners, Justin, iRecTV.com, probably tuning in for the very first time this morning. Good morning, iRec. Probably monitoring a lot of the Titanic chatter this morning online, says that man can reinforce a ship's hull 6 times the recommended strength. But if Mother Nature wants to chew that bone, I give you the Edmund Fitzgerald saga. Do you happen to know this story, Justin, about
Yeah,
the
so the
Edmund
Edmund
Fitzgerald?
Fitzgerald was a freighter that was in the Great Lakes in the
Mm.
70s and
Oh,
encountered a storm. And one of the things that they believe happened to that was that the ship literally broke in half
okay.
and sank to the bottom of I don't remember which lake. It's one of the Great Lakes.
There's a
In
few of
fact,
them.
Gordon Lightfoot wrote a song about it called "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald," which is a great song. Highly recommend that song. But yeah, no, I think the idea that we can surmount nature that's the part of the hubris. I mean, that goes back to, I'm going to get really nerdy on you, but that goes back to Icarus, right? The idea that Icarus put on his wings of wax, and flew up towards the sun, and his wings were made of wax, so of course they're going to melt. These sort of, I'm going to do this thing, but I've got some Achilles heel really that's going to cause damage, and that's what we're seeing every time with whether it be the Titanic or the Titan or yeah.
We have a thank you to give to Quest Fanning, who
Oh,
dropped us a super chat and said,
thank you so much.
yeah, James Cameron said he only made Titanic as an excuse to get the studio to pay for his trip down to the wreck. The rest was totally secondary. Is that true,
He's like,
Justin?
I just want to see the Titanic,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, well, and also the the yes, he did that, but we also, when we discovered the Titanic in 1985, Robert Ballard, the Titanic was an add-on. The government gave Robert Ballard money because there were some nuclear submarines that had been lost in the Atlantic that the
Oh.
government wanted him to go and find, just to make sure that the nuclear
Huh.
waste in those submarines was safe, because
Mhm.
they didn't obviously want nuclear waste to infiltrating the water supply, I guess, in the ocean, or just to find out what happened to those subs. These were, I think, I can't remember what subs they were, but I can't remember. But they had nuclear arms on them, and so they said, "Hey, listen, if you go and do this project and look for these other ships, we'll throw you some money to go look for the Titanic." So, and we didn't find that out until like 5-10 years ago that was the case. That was top secret. That Bob
Everything is
Ballard had
top
actually.
secret, isn't it? I'm
Yeah,
just tired of
yeah.
these secrets.
I know all these secrets, right? Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt
Yeah.
someone.
Now, I have a question for you. Being that you are in Boston and Austin said it was the epicenter of the search, did you
Yeah.
observe any like news reporters or,
Yep.
researchers or, any
Oh yeah,
boats or anything?
it's all on the sea. It's down by the seaport. So
Uh-huh.
there's a seaport here in Boston where all of the boats basically leave from.
Okay.
Whether they be tourist ships, there's a lot of whale watching that goes on in
I've
Massachusetts. So a lot of
always
people will
wanted to
take
go
the
whale watching there.
yeah,
Yes.
it's really cool. People go out, and then also there's ferries that go, like for example, to and from Provincetown.
Uh-huh.
It's very active. I think I sent you guys the marine traffic website, which I don't know if you've ever been on that site, but
Oh,
that is
it's
an incredible website
fascinating. I
to
had never
see
seen that before.
how many boats are on the water at any given
Yep.
moment in the world. It's such a cool website. But no, I mean they were all centered here in the seaport area,
Wow.
and it was really kind of cool to watch it because I was like, oh, I know where that is.
Hmm. Yeah. Like, did you go and talk to anybody over there, or
No,
is it
no,
like
I just kind of
barricaded
saw them on the
off?
news broadcasts and stuff. But that's
Uh-huh.
such a known part of town.
Okay.
There's some really great seafood restaurants over there, by the way, too.
I'm sure.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was the Billy of Tea. Good morning, good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Petersen. You're watching and listening to me. I'm AP, and then my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson. She is my
Steffi P.
best friend and my wife and lover. And my brother, Justin Peterson, who is a
God.
Titanic expert. He is located in Boston, Massachusetts, and he's joining us now for what we call Family Friday, which is when we get the whole Peterson crew together all we can, and we have as much fun as we can talking about whatever. It just so happens that my brother just happens to be a Titanic expert.
I know.
I mean, it's not like you go and get a degree in the Titanic. So, I mean,
If you can. There
there's
might be some sort of classes at college where you can study the Titanic.
I mean, I don't. Are there any universities that are probably there's Submariner University that has some kind of like course or something like that, but I wouldn't know. So we're talking about the implosion. Let's talk about the implosion, Justin. Let's talk
Mm,
about the
mm.
actual event itself. Uh, we don't know exactly what caused it. We can speculate about it, but what you had mentioned earlier is that in a sea of bad scenarios, this is the best of all the bad scenarios.
Totally. I mean, the thing that you think about in the really truly horrific nightmares of your worst, dreams is that they would, be there forever, stuck at the bottom of the ocean, running out of oxygen,
Right.
limited food, limited water, and you're just there and you're waiting for it to happen. And that I cannot imagine the horror of that experience. And it's really, like you said, it's the best of scenario of all scenarios that human suffering didn't occur. There
Hmm.
was no suffering.
Now,
So yeah.
we were watching Night to Remember last night, and it was fascinating to me that when the actual Titanic sank, I mean, it seems obviously to them, 2 or 3 hours for rescue is too long,
Mhm.
but it doesn't seem like a very long time. But for when you're out in the frozen ocean like that, I mean, with the icebergs,
Mhm.
all over the place and things like that, 2 to 3 hours in the water was too long for many of the people in the who were in the water in the after
Oh,
the
I mean, the
Titanic
people in the
disaster.
water, I mean, they would have lasted maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I mean,
Really,
that's
like
it. Like
hypothermia would have set
that would
in.
have been, it would have been, very,
Yeah,
very fast.
yeah, because it's like you
The
have a life preserver. If only you were like in warm water, you'd
Yeah,
probably be okay.
yeah,
That's the
except
crappy
sharks.
thing.
Except for sharks. Yeah,
Except
exactly.
sharks, which is what
Right.
happened to the Indianapolis, right? The USS Indianapolis, because
Right,
they
the
were in warmer
Indianapolis was in
water.
the Pacific Ocean, much
Yeah,
warmer.
People
yeah.
got eaten by sharks.
In
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah, in the USS
I
Indianapolis.
don't know the story.
Have
Oh
you ever
yeah.
seen the movie Jaws?
Yes.
So there's a scene in the movie Jaws
Uh-huh.
where one of the actors tells the story. I think he was, the actor character was on
Okay.
the USS Indianapolis after the Indianapolis dropped off the parts for the atomic bomb. It was on a secret mission
Oh,
to drop
Mhm.
off the parts for the atomic bomb.
wow.
On its return trip, and part of the reason why it didn't get picked up as quickly is because it was on a top secret mission. So not a lot of
Mhm.
people knew that it was out in the ocean. It got attacked by a Japanese submarine, and the USS Indianapolis sunk, and the sailors were in the water for several days,
Oh my
where
goodness.
they were being predated on by sharks, and exposed to the elements, covered in oil, and it was one of the worst disasters in marine history. And it is an incredible tale, but they, many of them were predated on by sharks. But this, the Titanic disaster, the Carpathia was 3 hours away. But what
Yes.
I didn't even know, Justin, that the California was nearby the
Right.
Titanic and was just watching them sink.
I'm so mad at that boat.
Unbelievable, Justin. What the hell happened
Yeah.
there?
Ah,
Well, I think that was a miscommunication. See, there's so many things about that night, obviously, 100 years ago, that people have written tomes and tomes and tomes about. One of the things that really compels me in terms of argumentation now about Titanic is the idea of an atmospheric phenomenon, which was about a false horizon, which is one of the reasons why they believe that the Titanic didn't see the iceberg until it was right on them, that there was a haze on the horizon that blurred where the
oh,
horizon was. And so the iceberg was actually hiding in that haze of the horizon.
really?
And it wasn't until the very last minute that it came out on them. And then there was obviously nothing they could do. But as far as the
Oh,
Californian was going on, again, it's this idea of telecommunications. I don't even know why they didn't turn on their Marconi system, right, to sort of telegraph what was going on,
wasn't the guy
because they
sleeping?
were, yeah, they were sleeping. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
10. So that was one of the things that the safety regulations following the Titanic disaster that required that there must be someone awake. There must be vigilant sort of
Yeah.
overnight watching of messages and listening to what's going on, because that was one of the things that at that time the technology was so new, people would just turn it off. They would just turn off the Marconi system and go to
Right.
bed.
We
Um,
watched, at the end of the movie Night to Remember, there's a little title that comes up that explains that out of tragedy comes, not hope, but just like, changes in
mhm,
maritime law. And it was because of the Titanic that they changed the rules for the number of lifeboats that are required. They changed all different sorts of protocols. And now the discussion is, Justin, that the destruction of the Titan submarine will lead to similar regulations and similar changes in how submarine tourism may be shaped in the future.
yeah, the from what I understand, this submersible, the Titan, never passed inspection by any regulatory body. There
Oh.
was never any organization of undersea construction that
Mhm.
said, "Hey, this doesn't pass muster. This is a dangerous thing." And actually, there was a whistleblower who
Yeah.
said, "Listen, this is a problem." But I think he got
They
fired or he
fired him,
quit.
yeah.
He fired
Yeah.
him. So again, inconvenient. You got to, because Austin and I, we talk about, like, you have to listen to your critics sometimes, because they may be able to have something that you don't know, that might be a blind spot. But
Just wonder, as a libertarian, I mean, do we really believe in regulations for this industry? Should they
No,
exist?
but standards, here's the thing, the standards that these kinds of communities lay around on each other,
Mhm.
they aren't like forcing one another to adhere to these standards. But the thing is that they, like Justin said, they got a letter from people in their industry that explained to them why they
mhm,
think that this submarine is
Right.
is dangerous, and he didn't listen. Now you're not going to be able to stop people, because here's the thing,
People are
they're
probably stupid.
well, here's the thing, they're in international waters.
Right.
So what
mhm,
exactly are you going to do? You can't stop someone because they're not the submarine wasn't flying the flag of any country,
Right.
right? So it's not as if you have to be governed under those rules, because you're not flying the flag of any certain country. And Justin, the flags of the cruise ships are very strategic in terms of what country they choose to fly the flag of. Isn't that correct?
right, that's right. Yeah.
And for
The
that
other,
reason.
yeah. Well, the other thing you were saying too is about this idea about informed consent. I mean, okay, fine, you're going to build a submersible made out of kittens and whispers. Let's, then I think people should be able to know this submersible was built with kittens and whispers, so that
Yes.
you're not under any false pretense that you're taking your life into your own hands.
Right.
That, so I think there was a degree of that in the waiver, because I think they all had to sign a waiver
Yeah.
that
Oh,
said,
I'm
they
sure.
they were in an experimental submersible, and
Right.
that they took on that death could be a part of that.
Here's the thing, Justin. I'm not an anarchist, right? And which, much to the disappointment of many libertarians, who think it's just not cool unless you're
Make
an
the ocean
anarchist.
private.
Right. We'll privatize the ocean, what have you.
Yes.
But here's the thing. When it comes to visiting Gettysburg, I don't think it's a really good comparison, just because there isn't the risk of death in visiting Gettysburg.
Right.
But I will say that if you go and you destroy parts of Gettysburg, or you act a fool at Gettysburg, one, you're going to get kicked out. Two, you might get your ass kicked from people who are there, veterans, or people who are, the park rangers and things like that.
Mm.
So, I mean, should there be some kinds of rules about how close you can get to the Titanic or things like that? Because we are talking about people's grave sites and things like that. Does it make sense that if we're going to allow tourism, which I think probably, we shouldn't ban it, but there should be some kind of a rule that you shouldn't be flying over the top of the Titanic or getting close enough to get stuck in its wheel, in its propellers, because
Imagine an airplane
well, we saw that
falling
we
into the
saw that
water.
reporter who got stuck on the Titanic and was
Right.
ripping it up, trying to remove it and things like that. That seems to me to me to be a destruction of somebody else's private property to some extent.
Right.
What are your
Right.
thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I just come back to this idea about, and this is obviously a philosophical question, which we could go into or
I love
reject, but it's this is a good
philosophy.
the idea about the tragedy of the commons, right? It's the idea of the tragedy of the commons,
Mm-hmm.
that, people, when given to their own devices, over time will destroy something.
Yeah.
It's like if there's nothing to sort of say, hey, no, we need this, we need to keep the common alive for the group, or the cows, so that the cows can eat. And if there's nothing more for the cows to eat, but I feel like, it's a moral and ethical question. Would you do this at Pearl Harbor? Why is Pearl Harbor exempt from the same? I know it's war, but these are human lives. Same thing. So, like, if
What
we
are the
wouldn't
rules
go,
at Pearl Harbor?
You can't take a submarine and go diving down underneath,
Oh, really?
not in
yeah,
no, the boats in Pearl Harbor. You can go and visit them and view them, but it's a protected park.
Oh, so
right,
submarines cannot go down there.
Yeah, if
right,
somebody found you with a submarine going around the boats of Pearl Harbor, they would come. They'd
right,
probably blow your ass
right,
up.
because we would think of that as being very offensive,
Yes,
right?
highly offensive.
Yeah, it's like,
So
what the heck?
I think it's the same thing with the Titanic. It's a mass grave. It's not like 5 people died, which they did, of course, this weekend, but we're talking about hundreds of 1,500 people, 1,600 people
Yeah.
dead. Children, women, children, men,
Yeah.
people from all walks of life. I just feel like, would we do, I mean, if it's World Trade Center, I think in our own time, it's like, would we want these sort of like, sort of macabre, sort of like, let's look at it, and
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean,
it's
look
hard to
what we
say.
turned the World Trade
I mean,
Center
we did turn
into.
it into it,
right,
right? So
Yeah.
Corey C over on the live stream says, "Yeah, but why regulate the submarine industry when it's completely an optional program? I will go my whole life and never have to go into a submarine." It's true, but I mean, the question of informed consent, I think Justin brought up, was good. And what's
And
the
because I mean,
here's
hello,
where it
vaccines.
affects us
yeah,
as the taxpayer. The government is paying for these
those rescue
recovery efforts.
operations? Good
Right.
point.
Right.
OceanGate is not paying for this.
Right, right. There's like, and James Cameron was talking yesterday about how he knew when he went down into the trench, because he went to Challenger Deep. He went to the deepest part of the world.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
but he knew that there was no rescue operation that could get to
He
him.
was by himself. That
Right.
man is
Oh
courageous.
yeah, but even if you could, I mean, I guess the question is that if the U.S. Taxpayer is paying to rescue all these kinds of people and things like that, then we have an interest in this.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And especially too, like if, for example, the Navy, which we
Mhm.
pay for, right,
Mhm.
knew that there was a sound phenomenon in the
Mm.
water. Why did they spend 3 days running around like chickens with their heads cut off, looking
Yeah.
for stuff?
How much money of ours did they waste
Yes, and
because they wouldn't tell us what was going on?
they
Right.
knew. I mean, do you think just typical bureaucratic bumbling and fumbling here, Justin, or do you
Of
think
course.
they wanted to give them hope, or what?
I mean, absolutely. I think we just got, it's like the communication, right? Who's talking to who? Oftentimes these things are such cluster, Fs,
Yeah.
that, but seriously, if the Navy knew, the Navy should have been the ones driving that, intelligence, for everybody else, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Petersen. I'm here on Family Friday with my lovely wife, Stephanie Petersen,
Hi.
and my brother, Justin Petersen, who is live from Boston, Massachusetts right now, giving us an update on the finality of the Titanic disaster. Well, Justin, obviously, this story riveted the world and had millions of people paying attention to the 5 people who went down in the submersible on Father's Day and did not return. Any final thoughts on this, Justin? That you'd like to share with our listeners as we, sort of put a, close the book on this saga.
Well, it was very sad. It was a very sad occurrence, of course. I think what was sadder was the view that I got of human beings through social media. That to me was the more heartbreaking and frankly blackpilling sort of experience. Because seeing what people are truly made of and their character and how they felt about this situation revealed a lot of psychopathy that I just didn't realize was in such vast supply. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly was concerning to see all of the hatred that was on display for people because they just happened to be wealthy enough to perform this. Now, if it weren't for the wealthy people, I think you said this the other day, Justin, wealthy people have gifted us great things over the years. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the names of the men in the movie we saw last night who went down with the Titanic was Guggenheim.
Astor, actually, John Jacob Astor. Yeah, one of the richest man in the world, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
died. Wow, John.
Yep, and
I know.
Guggenheim was on there too. Yeah, Archibald Guggenheim. Yep. We'd all be what? I mean, the philanthropy of rich people is one of the reasons why we have museums and we have cultural institutions and we have a lot of the things we enjoy in our culture. So
Yeah, much
to
of the
think
art
that
and
someone
music.
deserves death because of their position in society, that's such a communist take.
And we hate commies. Justin Petersen, my brother, a Titanic expert. Justin, I can't believe all of your Titanic knowledge really came in handy this week. So all of these years of study on Titanic has all brought you. The man has finally met his moment. Justin,
I did. I finally had my 15 minutes of fame, just like Andy
Soon
Warhol
Fox
said I would.
News will probably want to interview you.
you're going to be
Yes.
the new Paul-Henri Nargelet. Justin
Yes,
Petersen,
exactly.
have a great day and a great weekend. We love you, brother.
All right, love you.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.
Very soon. If you're at the bottom of the ocean and you're searching for a shipwreck, you might find yourself pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But
Gold.
the Wake Up America show is brought to you in part by our friends at Lear Capital. You can visit them today at learaustin.com. They're a great way to find out. They're a great way to shore up your portfolio against any disasters. Ask yourself right now if you feel comfortable with the state of the U.S. economy and where we're headed right now. Gold is now at a 3-month low. If you've been saying to yourself, "Hey, I need to invest in gold," guess what? There's never been a better time to buy right now with gold at their best prices yet. And Lear Capital, Stephanie, they've got this new promotion going on where you buy an ounce of gold
And you get an ounce of silver.
and you get an ounce of silver. So
Yeah.
not only are you going to get a good price on gold right now, physical gold metal, but you're also going to get a free silver deal alongside that. Buy 3 ounces of gold, get 3 ounces of silver. Buy 10 ounces of gold, get 10 ounces of silver. But you got to call them today before this deal runs out. Call them at 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. Call them today. Tell them you heard about the gold and silver deal on the Wake Up America show and that you appreciate that they sponsor the Wake Up America show. They keep Austin and Stephanie's lights on at the Petersen Manse.
Yes.
And let them know that you are ready to invest in gold and silver today. You can get a free gold and silver information packet if you sign up at learaustin.com. That's LEARAUSTIN.com. Or I recommend highly you call them. 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. We appreciate that very much.
The Titanic really shows us how important gold is because in the movie we were watching last night, A Night to Remember, all of the women, as the ship was sinking, they went to the purser, whatever it's called, and they wanted their jewelry.
They wanted their gold.
These women were so worried about their medals.
They wanted their gold.
So it's like, even when the world is going to crap, people want gold.
People want their gold.
Yes.
Yeah. Call them today. 1-800-885-2175 or visit learaustin.com. Corey C. says, great conversation, Justin. Always appreciate your segments.
Oh,
Thank you very much for that.
It's just so intriguing.
Justin awesome?
So intriguing.
He's just got such a brilliant mind,
Oh, absolutely. And I've been trying to think, why am I personally so intrigued by this Titanic story? Because I mean, I like the movie Titanic, but it's like I've never really known much about it. I think it just brings so many things together that I think about in my life. And one of them is death, like that fear of dying.
Right, because as Justin kind of explained, the time to contemplate your mortality.
Yeah.
Right. The people on the Titanic, they had 90 minutes. Remember when we were watching the movie last night and the guy was like, tell us how long do we have? And the guy who made the ship, Andrews or what have you,
Yeah.
was like, about an hour. We've got about an hour before we go
I
down.
can't even imagine. And these people literally were, playing their musical instruments, staying very calm. I remember this maid on the ship. She was like, I'm not wearing a life vest. I don't want people to worry.
Yeah, and
It's like,
and then you
what?
had people who the first class people who were saying things like, "Oh, I'm not getting on that boat. I'm not getting that lifeboat. It's cold out there." Blah blah blah. And it's just kind of like they did. Like there were people who just did not understand the enormity of the events that were unfolding literally underneath their feet.
I mean, people are in such denial about our mortality, as humans. Like is it immortality or mortality?
Our mortality.
Mortal. Yeah, it's like we all are not going to make it out of here alive. And that's a fact. And some people just don't accept it.
I see we've got a good amount of people watching us this morning on Rumble. Good morning to all of our friends over there. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Good morning.
Yeah, do us a favor. If you are signed in, and I know you have to be signed in to do this, make sure you click that like button. We appreciate it. It's nice to see Misha Gangster, who's joining us over there.
Are you from Michigan?
I don't know, because Stephanie's
Michigander?
I would think so, but Stephanie's a Michigander herself. Misha Gangster says, "Is this working?" Answer: yes, it is working.
Is this working?
Yes, Katie556 joining us as well as
Katie,
Grixis, Robbie Thurman, Nelson65, and Fed Up Kentucky, and as well as Kermode Bear, who I think we owe Kermode Bear something today, don't we?
I have been reminding Austin all week long. I'm like, do not forget, we must sing "Fly Me to the Moon."
I promised I would sing "Fly Me to the Moon," but I do want to ask you a favor that if we do "Fly Me to the Moon," that you will donate a super chat today. I'll be appreciative.
Kermode Bear did last week, right?
Yes, but I would like to ask for another one because I'm a greedy boy and I'm trying to fund it. We're trying to crowdsource our documentary.
We're trying to make a submersible. No, I'm kidding.
No, we're not making a submersible, but we are trying to crowdsource our documentary about the Battle of Athens, which, if you haven't heard yet, is a documentary that's going to be an hour-long, feature-length documentary about election fraud and corruption that occurred in Tennessee. And World War II veterans returning from home who had fought for democracy overseas found that they had lost it here over here at home. I'm reading this book about it. Last night you saw me working on this book. It's just
a lot.
Yeah, Chris DeRosa's book called The Fighting Bunch, about these World War II veterans who, after got sick and tired of all this election fraud and all of the corruption and graft in their town. I mean, deputy sheriffs were literally getting paid to arrest people. And
sounds corrupt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. And at polling locations, the Democratic leader of the polls would win these districts by 360 votes to 2. So we're gonna do.
These candidates were just horrible.
No. They were just. It was just the corrupt Democratic machine of Tennessee in the 1940s. And we're gonna go to the festival, the Battle of Athens commemorative festival. We're gonna interview local leaders. We've got the mayor lined up for an interview. Local judges.
To the mayor?
Yeah, we've already got the space booked for the interviews, which is the McMinn County Historical Society.
That's so wonderful.
Yes, they've been generous in offering us a group, but it is going to cost a lot of money for us to hire the cameraman to film this, because even though I know how to use cameras a little bit, I think that this kind of story really merits a film quality director. So
you can't do all the things.
I can't do everything, but I will produce it. So, but I can't produce it without your help, which is why we're asking for our listeners to give generously to our Give, Send, Go campaign.
Oh my gosh! Did you talk about that woman who prayed for you on Give, Send, Go?
Oh, hold on! I want you to tell that story. But we do get to celebrate today, because this week we crossed $2,175.
So cool!
Raised.
Just a few nights ago, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we raised $2,175 so far.
Oh wow, it keeps rising.
Yeah, $2,175 from our followers, and our goal is to raise $10,000 by the end of July. So we've still got a few more weeks left. And so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we're about a third of the way there almost. And when we hit that $10,000 mark, then we'll have grounds to celebrate because we'll have all the money that we need to be able to shoot drone footage of the festival
Wow.
and of the courthouse and things like that. I'm talking about trying to raise the money to actually shoot a recreation of the battle itself.
Which would be super expensive.
Yes, but
Yes.
I'm hoping that I'll be able to convince an investor with the footage that we shoot.
Right.
So we'll shoot the footage of the interviews and the townspeople in the event, and then we'll take that footage and we'll go to an investor and we'll say, hey, give us the money for the ability to recreate the Battle of Athens itself. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. But if not, we'll still be able to create a documentary based on what we shoot there, no matter what. So yeah, please do so today.
Documentary is happening.
Yeah. Okay. Trey says, sounds like such a cool story. I'm a native Tennessean and I didn't know that. Very cool. All right.
Wow.
Well,
I had never heard of the Battle of Athens. Seriously, the first time you told me about it, I was like, are you going to Greece?
yeah, everybody says that.
I had no idea what this was.
Yeah. Quest, would you do me a favor, brother? Would you drop the link to the Give, Send, Go fundraiser over on YouTube for those who might want to kick in, $10, $50? Somebody gave us $1,000. Pretty crazy, right? So
that's a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yes. Yeah. But we would be very grateful if you would contribute to help us to tell this story. Our friend Michigangster says it sounds like Antrim County here in Michigan. I don't know Antrim County.
Antrim County. I've never heard of that. Where in Michigan are you?
Yeah, I don't know where Antrim. I
Must
don't know
be in
Michigan
like
very
the
well.
northern part somewhere.
All right, we've got a story, Stephanie. I showed you this video yesterday, and this is a school in Scotland, so you can imagine. Obviously, it's quite woke. But this is the story of a student who apparently was refusing to be indoctrinated on the latest gender ideology. And a student got kicked out of class for saying that there are two genders. This is a pretty interesting video. I want you to take a look. Go ahead, Stephanie. What were you
We
gonna say?
saw another video of a teacher in Britain and kids talking to their teacher about the same exact thing. So
Played that yesterday.
Kids are just starting to talk to their teachers about
Kids
this.
fighting back. I've seen the kids are fighting back. It's actually been very inspiring to see the kids like standing up for what they believe and like boycotting school on like the gay days that they have in school and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me as somebody who's like, supported gay marriage in the past and, obviously Justin's gay. I've got lots of gay friends and family and, I believe that, they should be able to live free as they want. But once the government gets involved and starts making it a mandatory, they basically becomes wrong think if you do not agree with the idea that there are 150,000 genders.
You're a thought criminal.
You're a thought criminal. That's when I'm on the side of the people who I may not agree with otherwise, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like when I ran for president. People thought that I was like a Christian conservative because I defended the Christian baker.
Oh, yeah.
And I said that I don't think that he should be forced to make a gay cake.
Right.
So people assumed that the reason that I was defending him is because I'm this bigoted Christian, whatever. I'm like, no, actually, I'm a secular humanist. I just happen to believe in free speech and private property rights. And I believe that that Christian should be allowed to have his conscience. He should be allowed to refuse, and, for private property purposes, one, for religious purposes, two.
Right.
But people assume that if you're defending something, that must mean that you share those points of view. That's the biggest fallacy. Even libertarians are guilty of that fallacy.
Oh, yeah.
Like if a libertarian sees me, like a lot of libertarians were the ones who
Gary Johnson clearly doesn't agree with you.
Well, he's a moron. He's stoned.
Yeah.
He's stoned all the time. But the thing with that was that, it was libertarians who were calling me a bigot. He thought that I was a Christian, Christo-fascist and things like that. Bake the cake. Oh God, bake the cake. Bake the Nazi cake, right? But you don't have to. You're not brave when you defend the freedom of someone that you agree with, right? You're not
brave when you defend the freedom of someone you agree with. Right.
You're brave when you defend the freedom of someone that you don't agree with.
Oh yeah, that's the scariest.
Yeah, because
you make people mad.
You make people mad that are your friends, that would be your supporters.
Oh, I've seen a lot of our friends who get mad at you for certain posts that you make.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, I don't want to follow you anymore. It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can see it. Like in my follower count.
Yeah.
All the time. Like I'm one of those people who I have a good following online, but it's nowhere near as big as a lot of people in our groups because I offend people that ordinarily would follow me because, well, a perfect example might be like vaccines, right?
Right.
Like vaccines is a perfect example. I defend the right of people to have bodily autonomy. And
I believe in freedom.
I believe in freedom, but that's not enough. That's not enough for some anti-vaxxers, and not all. For some anti-vaxxers, if you don't agree with them that the shot is poison and that it has to be banned and that all the vaccines cause autism, if you don't agree with that, then you're not one of us, and therefore you are as bad as Anthony Fauci and the mandatory vaxxers. It's kind of like the same mentality as the mandatory vaxxers. So if you go search Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition of an anti-vaxxer, you and I fit the bill. Even though I'm pro-vaccine, Merriam-Webster defines an anti-vaxxer as someone who is against mandatory vaccination.
Which is so weird.
So that makes me an anti-vaxxer. That puts me right into bed with people like
anti-vaxxer. There you go.
Which makes me
one of you.
Which makes me.
Yes.
I'm basically like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. essentially, right? I'm basically like Alex Jones or any anti-vaxxer. I'm just the same as them.
There you go.
Even though I'm not the same as them. I defend those people's freedom, but I don't agree with them.
Right. It's like, what is it that libertarians call to ban certain things that they don't like? It's like, hello, I thought we're not into banning things.
Well, that was kind of one of the biggest eye openers to me, is that one of the biggest eye openers was that a lot of libertarians are for banning a lot of things.
In the non-GMO circle, because I went to like a non-GMO parade back in the day when I was still finding myself. And it's like they wanted to ban GMOs, and I'm like, I thought we were libertarians.
It's like when the left said, and like some libertarians would say this, it's not enough to not be racist. You must be actively anti-racist, right? Like it's not enough to be anti-mandatory vax. You must be anti-vax, right? So it's like, no, I can defend people's freedom to be, and I did during the whole pandemic. I was always defending people's freedom.
Yeah.
But the fact that I chose to get the vaccine, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you're a mudblood. You're not one of us. And then now people confuse that. They're like, oh, well, you were shilling for that. Must mean that you're shilling for the vaccine. It's like,
oh my God.
No, dude, it just means that I made my own private health decision. I always defended your right to make your own private health decision. And that's how it always going to be. But again, people are retarded.
Yeah.
And they're unable to understand that you don't have to agree with someone to defend their freedom.
Absolutely.
I don't have to be a Christian to defend the Christian baker. Right. I don't have to be an anti-vaxxer to defend the anti-vaxxer. And they're right, like the Amish and the Mennonites and those who choose not to get it.
We defend Amish people.
Yeah, the Amish people should have the right to be Amish, and the Mennonites have the right to be Mennonites, right? So it's like, Michigangster says we can't worry about all these labels these days, right?
Oh my God, there's too many talking about gender.
Oh God. Okay, well here it is. So let's do something that I think most people who follow us will agree with.
Okay.
Let's play this clip of this Scottish teacher lecturing his student who he kicked out of class for saying that there are two genders. Take a listen.
You're entitled to your opinion.
If I am, then why would you kick me out of class? It's not very inclusive of
Can I finish my sentence, please? Not very inclusive. No, I'm sorry. What you were saying was not very inclusive, and this is an inclusive school.
Yeah. How was what I was saying?
Because I was saying that what's wrong with the website is that there are more than one gender in this country.
That's your opinion.
That is my opinion, and that is an opinion which is acceptable in the school. I'm afraid yours, which you're saying that there's no such thing as anyone other than male or female, is not inclusive.
Scientifically, there are just two genders. Depending on what
I get it. But you're choosing to make an issue of this, because I said, are you really going to hear? That was your opportunity to keep quiet.
You made the issue with it on the website. You said, this website doesn't have more than two genders.
You were clearly given an opportunity.
You're clearly given an opportunity.
Get in my belly. That is inclusive.
That bastard, right? This teacher, good God, let's continue.
Not to pursue it. You chose to do so.
Yeah, because I think it's
You chose to do so. Yes, that's the key question. You chose.
Schools are no longer areas of free inquiry.
I just don't remember ever learning in school about gender. I don't know. We've never talked about like gay marriage, nothing like that in school. I don't remember this.
Yeah, no clue. Quest Fanning's taking off. Hey, Quest, thanks, brother. Good to see you. Have a great weekend, man.
See ya.
You get on the subway. Appreciate you, Quest. And thanks for that super chat earlier. We appreciate that.
Yes, we really do.
Yeah, let's continue on.
Chose to do so.
I think it's silly to have anything other than two genders. So
Okay.
Anything else is a personal opinion.
Could you please keep that opinion to your own house?
No. No, you don't have to keep your opinion to your own house. You're allowed to have an opinion out in public.
You have freedom of speech. Well, I don't know in Scotland if they have freedom of speech.
No, they don't have freedom of speech.
Okay, they don't have a First Amendment.
No, they don't. No, they don't have a First Amendment.
You're kind of screwed. Come to America, buddy.
Move. Yes. God, I love that movie. So I Married an Axe Murderer. You saw that one when we first started dating.
Someone married an axe
So I
murderer.
Married an Axe Murderer. It's Michael Myers, and then he's like from a Scottish family, and his like wife he thinks is an axe murderer and stuff like that.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
haven't seen.
Yes, you
We
have.
watched Overboard last week.
Yeah, you've seen it. I've shown you all these movies, and you forgot because it was when we first started getting together and stuff like that.
I was probably just so distracted by your dreamy eyes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I was looking at you the whole
You
time.
were just horny. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on.
So you get to put your opinion out in class, and my
No,
opinion.
I am not.
My opinion has to stay
I
inside
am
my
not
house.
putting my opinion. I am not putting my opinion out. I am stating what is national school authority policy.
Oh,
okay?
it's policy.
It's not scientific whatsoever.
Not every policy is scientific, Brian. Not every policy is scientific, Murray.
And you can't come out here and say that I'm not being inclusive when someone says
I
something you
didn't say.
disagree with. So
I said what you were saying was not being
you
inclusive.
kicked me out of class. If you want to have a discussion about it, we could have had a discussion. You don't have to kick me out of class.
I'm
and
sorry,
waste
but
30 minutes of my time, where I could have been down revising, doing something else. Instead, I state something I believe in. You kick me out of class for 30 minutes, and I'm waiting on the.
Take this somewhere else, Murray. You can make an official complaint.
I'm not
Please
going to
do.
make an official complaint.
Why not?
I just think it's.
I know what you think, and I know what the authority thinks. I know what the authority's point of view.
Well, I know
it's
what science
very clear that we make no discrimination on the grounds of various.
I wasn't making discrimination. I'm simply saying there are two genders, male and female.
Yeah.
Anything else is a personal identification.
I'm sorry, but you chose to make an issue of making a point which is contrary to policy.
You
right?
made the issue when you complained about the website, sir.
Yes, and I made it in a way.
And I responded to that by saying, but there are only two genders. I never made the issue.
Okay, I am not going here. You can choose, but you're making bad choices.
I'm making bad choices, okay.
Well,
can I take my bag and go to the research area and start revising it?
You can stay here.
Okay, I'll stay here. Thanks for
Looks
wasting
like
my
kid
time.
not have an accent.
He kind of does. It's just not as strong as his teachers there.
Murray, I am not allowed to tell you how much of my time you have wasted.
I'm not allowed to tell you how much of my time you have wasted. Jesus H, what is that? Social weirdness. Social weirdness.
It's really confused. I'm just not sure.
How would you as a student, how do you deal with this? You know, how would you deal with something like that? I mean, okay, so you know what? If you missed the clip yesterday, I've got the one that you were talking about here. Take a listen to this one.
How dare you? You're just really upset.
Dare you? Now, this is the one where the teacher is mad because the student refused to accept that their fellow student was a cat.
Oh, well,
Okay, yeah,
that's not even a gender, a cat.
You just really
Apparently.
upset someone. Saying things like should be in an asylum.
I didn't say that. I just said if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell. Then they've gone they're crazy.
They're unwell.
You were questioning
Like,
their identity.
if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell.
Say it so nicely.
Yeah, those cute little kids. But like the teacher, I think, has got the Cockney. Hold on.
I
Let's see.
wasn't a question. I was just saying about the gender. I didn't say anything about them.
But where did you get this idea from? There's only two genders.
Where did you get this idea from? It's only two genders. That's the Cockney there.
Opinion. That is my opinion. If I respect their opinion, can't they respect my opinion?
It is not an opinion.
Right there. If they can respect their opinion, why can't they respect mine? It's not an opinion, right? It's not an opinion. Are you sure?
Well, the Scottish guy claimed it was his opinion.
Yeah, are you
The
sure
teacher
about
said, that's my opinion.
You sure about that? Are you sure about that? You sure about that? All right, let's continue.
Yeah, but
It's not an opinion you can have.
Loads of people think there's only two genders.
Again, it's not an opinion because she identifies as a cat. We're not talking about, trans, gen TG, LGB, whatever. We're talking about a student who says that they're a cat, okay? And she says
What
it's
term you would use for that? That's not gender.
But here's the thing. You say it's not gender, but she says it is. She says it's one of the identifiable genders, that you are a cat. Okay, and she says it's not an opinion. It's not an opinion. Like she is a cat. We're talking about literal effing cats here.
I mean, let's go back to the science book. What is a cat, right?
What is a cat? All right. We don't. Okay, Matt Walsh.
I am not a cat.
Okay, hold on.
Remember the
Yes,
There's
yes,
no
hold
other
on.
private part. There's only two.
Gender is not linked to
There is
the
only two
parts that
genders.
you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said right from the very beginning of the
No, I just don't
lesson.
agree with that. So why should I have to listen to something I don't agree with?
Biological sex, there is actually three biological sex.
3? Oh, no, she's wrong about that. She's a bigot because weren't you reading this morning?
I actually have the full list as of 2023.
Bigot.
I do.
Bigot.
There are.
Mm-hmm.
Drum roll, please.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. All right.
And what does Google say?
How many genders are there? There are, well, it said 107. There are 107 gender identities, including Bisu.
What the hell is a Bisu?
We have eunuch.
Eunuch is that you've actually just castrated yourself.
Oh, Hydra. Maverick. Nutois.
Okay, I don't need you to read all 102 genders.
Fake
made-up genders.
I don't see a cat in here, though. I do see Vakasalawilwa.
It's like a town in Wales.
Yes.
So here's the thing. So Google is telling you there's 102 genders. This teacher is
107. I'm sorry. That's not my opinion.
Don't be a bigot. Don't be bigoted. 107.
Yes.
The teacher is saying there are 3. So clearly this teacher is not caught up with the latest, right?
She needs to read the official list.
She needs to read the official list. Here we go. Hold on.
Male and female body parts or hormones.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300. Doesn't mean
There's 3. There's not 300. There's 3. There's not 300. That's lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, there's 3. I'm talking about biological sex. In terms of gender, there are lots of genders.
Lots.
Transgender. There is agender, people that don't believe they have a gender at all.
Yeah, but you can't have
right.
You can't have that. It's not a law.
Yeah, but it's not a law, but it's our opinion. We just don't agree with it. We just think it's all just. If you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy. Yeah.
But cisgender is not necessarily the way to be. You were talking about the fact that cisgender is the norm. That you identify with the gender of the sexual organs that you're born with, or you're weird. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is really despicable.
How? When it's if I called my mum right now, my mum would feel my side. If I called my mum, she'd say.
Well, that's very sad as well then.
How is it? Loads of people agree with that. There's only a small majority of people who actually think that.
And why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia?
Yeah, but
homophobia.
Yeah, she says that
we're not talking about.
He says if
sexual orientation.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about gender, right? We're talking about your biological sex. Right.
And she's saying we're homophobic.
You're homophobic if you don't accept someone who thinks they're a cat.
That doesn't mean they're attracted to cats.
Let's be honest. If you identify as a cat, you're probably gay. But let's continue.
I'm fine with lesbians and gay people. Same. I've got nothing against them.
But gender there is a link between it, and you're saying that people can't change.
These are smart. They're asking the right questions. I mean, these are questions that adults would have a hard time pushing back against.
They learned all this stuff from. I mean, maybe they grew up in Christian households.
Yeah, that too, probably. Yeah. But it's the UK, so I mean, it's a very shrinking minority of people who are Christian in the UK.
Really?
But my guess is they probably are learning it from right-wing TikTok and right-wing Twitter and all. They're probably following AP for Liberty on Twitter.
British children, welcome. And Scottish people.
Yes, British children and Scottish people. If you're watching the Wake Up America show, you're probably learning how to fight back against
our dog is British, so
as Thomas
we accept you.
We have a Thomas Jefferson shirt at apforlibertyshop.com that says, "For I have sworn eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man." And I do want to remind you to visit apforlibertyshop.com. Stephanie, I'm wearing something from the AP collection today.
I know. I complimented your shirt this morning.
Yes, you can see. What do I have here?
So this is the Statue of Liberty holding an AR-15.
Yes. So
I got my gun right.
Yes, you got your gun right. Yes. And you can get an awesome shirt like the one I'm wearing right now, or the one that you can see on the model over here. All gun laws are infringement. All kinds of awesome shirts, not just gun-related stuff, but any kind of freedom-related stuff. And if you want to get something from the 4th of July collection, time is running out to be able to get it by the 4th of July. So the shoes would not be able to make it, to the patriotic shoes would not be able to make it, but any of the shirts and things like that are print on demand should be able to make it by then. Yeah,
keychains, Buddhas, our Smoke and George coin necklace, those would make it.
Right.
Because they come directly from our house.
Exactly. So if you want to get some awesome merch for the 4th of July, we've got American flag.
Brushes, those will make it.
Toilet brushes, those will make it as well. Then we make sure you order today. Everything in the 4th of July collection is 15% off. automatically. So
Nice.
go just browse the apforlibertyshop.com website now and check out what we've got over there, and maybe throw some things in your shopping cart for later, and get yourself an order in today. All right. Cool. Let's continue on with. We'll finish that that video clip of those smart British kids fighting back against tyranny, eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Yeah, that's our Thomas Jefferson shirt that we've got over there. All right, take a listen.
They can't. Unless you get a penis attached. No, I'm not.
You're confusing sex and gender.
No, I'm not.
No, you're confusing sex and gender.
Yeah, you can't have a vagina and be a girl, but then
unless you get surgery, and even then, because you've got those genes.
How you identity. How you identify. It's not an opinion that we express in this school.
It is.
No, it's not. And if you don't like it, you need to go to a different school.
Oh,
So I'm reporting you to Miss Willis. You need to have a proper educational conversation.
You need to be educated, right?
She's not educating them well enough.
It reminds me a little bit of that conversation in The Shining. I corrected her, like The Shining.
She's gaslighting.
Oh yeah,
She's making those children feel like they're crazy.
Yeah, she is. She is. Let me see if I can pull this clip up real quick. It reminds me a little bit of this kind of like creepy scene from The Shining, where the dead like caretaker like talks about how he murdered his daughters and stuff, and he talks about how he like when they like got out of line, he corrected them. Like the teacher reminds me of this weird dude. Hold on, here it is.
Actually stole a pack of matches. My girls, they didn't care for the Overlook at first.
My girls, they didn't care for the gender ideology at first.
One of them actually stole a pack of matches and tried to burn it down.
One of them actually refuted gender ideology and said that a man is a man and a girl is a girl.
But I corrected them, sir.
I corrected
and when
them.
my wife tried to prevent me from doing my duty, I corrected her.
What did he do? Hit her on the butt?
No, he murdered them with an axe.
Oh.
So the two little girls in that in the movie with the scene where they're like, "Come play with us, Danny. Yeah, come play with us forever and ever." That was those were his daughters that he murdered. All right, we're almost done with that clip. It's too good. Here we go.
Miss Willis, you need to have a proper educational conversation about equality, diversity, and inclusion. Because I'm not having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be, how you identify is up to you.
Everyone else thinks it. They just don't say it because then all this happens.
Maybe because they're polite and maybe they're sensitive.
I haven't said anything in all of the lessons I've been in. It's just because they turned around and started saying something. So I said, how can you identify as a cat when you're a girl?
Oh, well, they're now writing a statement. I would imagine that you'll be asked to write a statement as well.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
See, this is what this is, Stephanie, is this is evil trying to gain the upper hand in society. This is people who are devoutly evil, who want to gain power in society. And the first thing that they do is they break the bonds of reason, right? They hold over when they can divorce your mind from the capability of using logic and reason and being able to think things out for yourselves. Then what do you need to do? You are dependent on them for the truth.
Right.
You are no longer capable of seeking the truth because you're not intelligent enough to know what the truth is.
You don't have the confidence.
Exactly. They're trying to destroy these children's confidence so that the children, they're like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm so confused. Like you said,
I'm
gaslighting.
confused.
Right.
Yes.
Gaslighting, right?
Yes.
So that person is dependent on them. This is the literal definition of gaslighting, where you're teaching trying to teach that student that they're crazy and that they cannot rely on their own reasoning.
Yeah.
And so therefore that person is now dependent on you to be able to understand how the world works and to be able to determine what is right and what is wrong. So once the Marxist, the communist, the socialist, or just the evil leftist or whatever you want to call them, once they've broken that bond, then they start the programming. Right. So first you must break the horse, and then you must program the horse.
Oh my gosh, this sounds like what a narcissist does.
Mm-hmm.
They break you down little by little, isolate you, make you feel bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm, for sure, and
then they just take you in.
And it's so that they can commit atrocities,
Yeah.
right? And it's because they're some of them have these lustful desires, like the groomers, for example. They want to gain access to children, and therefore the people in society who have power, if they want to have access, if they're adults who want to have access to children, first of all they have to destroy the minds of children, right? But they also have to put adults into fear of defending children, right? So they want that's why the desire to prosecute people like Daniel Penny, who was that U.S. Marine who choked out Jordan Neely in New York City, right, in self-defense. Right, they want to destroy our ability to defend ourselves because because typically the type of person who's going to step in and be a good Samaritan to defend someone else is going to be a male, right? You're gonna so they want to defenestrate males, and I won't say white males exclusively because Daniel Penny wasn't the only person who restrained.
Oh yeah, there were a few people.
And yes, and they weren't all. It wasn't all white guys. It was a white guy, I think a black guy, and then it looked like a
someone who was
generically brown,
mixed.
right, a mixed person, right? But the thing is that they want to destroy our ability to defend ourselves, to make us afraid to defend one another.
Yeah.
Right. So that the evil pedophile groomers, leftist, socialist, Democrats, MAPS, the LGBTQIA plus community that is craven and degenerate, they destroy our minds, and then they can have access to our bodies, that they can do what they want, either sexually or otherwise, right? So it is about a process of total control,
right?
And it begins with the indoctrination of children and the divorcing of the collective of being able to logic or reason for themselves, right? Destroying logic itself, destroying reason itself. To claim that truth is not real, that objective morality is not real, right? That
it makes them not believe their parents.
Yes,
separates them from their parents.
Well, I even read this week that there was an example of of teachers who were getting together and teaching one another how to ensure that parents don't get involved in the teaching. I just saw it this week. Yes.
I mean, I was looking up if there really are policies that are being made in school districts about this type of material, and there really is. I mean, the teachers, in order to keep their job, they literally have to teach certain things. So let's see here. I actually had screenshotted. It says in Montana, Tennessee, and Arkansas, they passed laws that require schools to give families advance notice of lessons on gender identity and sexual orientation and allow parents to opt their children out. So it's they're starting things like that where it's you can opt out of stuff. And so then it's making teachers not want to teach about these types of issues because they just want to avoid it altogether. And then let's see. And then I know too, they're trying to tell teachers not to tell parents when children are identifying as something else in the classroom. So it's teachers in the policy, they basically have to swear to secrecy from parents. So it's as a teacher who wants to keep their job, how far are you willing to go to do that?
Now, here is the story that I found, the story that I was talking about here. Fury, parents' rights are under attack. Fury as New York schools are told to keep gender identities secret from families.
Yeah.
New guidance also calls to end PE gender separation so that LGBTQ pupils aren't marginalized.
Were you separated in gym class from the other sex? I mean, in the locker room we were.
Yeah. Well, it depended on what we were doing, right? For the most part. I mean, we did square dancing and line dancing.
Yeah, I don't.
And you weren't gender separated for that because you had a female partner for square dancing. But everything.
I wonder what they would do if a kid is intersex. It's who would they match them up with?
Man, I don't envy these. I don't envy normal teachers at this point.
Right.
It's a good time to be a wacko left wing. Wingnut, if you're a batshit crazy leftist teacher right now, this is your heyday. But if you're just a normal teacher who just wants to teach kids, Clayton Hockett was one of my teachers. He was like the physical health teacher, and like in middle school is when they have like the sex education class,
Yeah.
where they teach you about like gender and sex and sexually transmitted diseases, and all kinds of other stuff, right? Can you imagine? They just back in the day it was like normal, right? You watched a video about the woman giving birth, and it's like this is how sex works and what what this results in. But I do not envy the health teachers in middle school anymore right now, because
don't even know what to teach.
if you're normal at all, if you're just a normal Missouri, more normal Midwestern health teacher, you're probably like saying to yourself, how much longer do I have until I can retire and get out of here?
Now, with the new teachings, they're probably showing like a man giving birth, as part of the education in sex ed.
Yeah. So the parents have been left furious after schools in New York were told to keep their children's gender identities secret from their families under new guidance. So this is official policy. The New York State Education Department released 42 pages of guidance last week, which told schools to keep information about a child's gender identity from families if they deem it necessary.
Yeah.
Which I guarantee you they're going to claim that they do, right?
Right. I'm so glad I didn't become a teacher. My sister is a teacher. I probably need to talk to her and see if any of these issues come up. She's a special education teacher, so maybe not so much.
Yeah. The report also calls for schools to end the practice of separating boys and girls during PE, as it marginalizes transgender and gender expansive students and marks them as, quote, others. Well, if they're not others, what are they? Like if they're not others, I mean, if they're not male and they're not female, at least according to them,
right?
What are they?
Right. I mean, intersex is a thing. So I guess I would agree that there's three genders.
There's 10 people on the whole effing planet who are intersex, right?
Because they're born with like two parts. They're hermaphrodites. Is that what they are?
Right. But like, you don't set policy, like an entire policy for absolutely everybody, based on like the 10 people in the world that have.
Jamie Lee Curtis a hermaphrodite?
No,
I always heard
she
was.
That's
just probably just a bad rumors. Yeah. Well, I did ask ChatGPT.
Yes.
About how many genders there are.
And what did ChatGPT?
Because ChatGPT is always right, so we have to believe. Yes. ChatGPT. Okay. Oh no, did it delete what I typed? Oh, gosh. Here, let me retype it. How many genders are there? And it wasn't offended by my question at all, which is good.
Usually it gets offended by questions.
So it says the concept of gender is complex and can vary across cultures and societies.
Right.
But traditionally, many cultures recognize only two genders, male and female, corresponding to the binary understanding of sex as male or female. However, contemporary understandings of gender have evolved, and many people now recognize that gender exists on a spectrum and is not limited to just two categories. So ChatGPT is definitely in with the times. It knows that people are changing.
Right. This is an intensive care unit doctor who is discussing this same subject. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
Friedman wants to take your children away from you, but there's a very high chance that their trans identity might be misdiagnosed. Trans most likely have borderline personality disorder, which should be treated with therapy rather than puberty blockers and surgery. When you go to a doctor and get diagnosed, you're free to get a second opinion. It's my medical opinion that many depressed, withdrawn adolescent adults actually have borderline personality disorder, but are misdiagnosed as having gender dysphoria and being trans. Borderline personality disorder requires 5 of the following 9 criteria to be diagnosed. Number 1, fear of abandonment. Trans allies are always talking about setting up safe spaces for inclusion and feeling needed. Number 2, unstable relationships that go from one extreme to the other. One minute, you're with the woke crowd. The other minute, you say something bad, you're canceled. Number 3, unstable self-image or sense of identity. This is key. This is the non-binary gender, the they-them pronouns. Number 4, impulsiveness with sex and or substance abuse. Number 5, repeated threats or attempts at self-harm.
You want to weigh in here as a therapist, Stephanie?
I mean, just in my professional career so far, I have yet to meet somebody who is transgender and who also has borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder it's very different than just thinking that you're, in the wrong gender.
Well, his argument is that he thinks that many of the people who are being diagnosed as transgender actually have borderline personality disorder.
I don't think so. I really don't think so, because it's like when you have borderline personality disorder, I mean, you can usually tell those people from a mile away. I mean, they cling to you, and they like can never have stable friendships. They're very untrusting. I mean, they don't, so it's like they're sexually promiscuous, but transgender people typically are not that way. A lot of times they actually don't really have much sex because of how they view their body.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I'm really confused by that. But this guy's a doctor, you said?
He is an intensive care unit doctor.
Wow. Okay. Yes. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so maybe he knows more than I do. I have no idea.
But you deal with BPD a lot, right?
Yes. And it presents as, you can tell when somebody has BPD. I mean, they don't leave you alone. They don't know boundaries. Yeah, it's very difficult to work with them. Whereas transgender individuals, I mean, usually the main thing that upsets them is just, them feeling like they're not in the right body, and that causes depression, that causes anxiety. A lot of times people who have gender dysphoria, they have dealt with trauma in the past.
Right.
Which could play into that. But yeah, borderline personality disorder, I have never connected that with gender dysphoria ever before.
Let's do a reset real quick for people who might just be tuning into the show. Good morning. I'm Austin Petersen. We're grateful to have you here on the Wake Up America show. And today is Friday. We always do a Family Friday, which means my lovely wife, Stephanie, is joining us today.
Hey.
Glad to have you here. Stephanie, I want to talk to our friends really briefly about John Burke's company, Shell Shock CBD, who is a sponsor of the Wake Up America show and has created some excellent CBD and Delta-8 products to help in pain relief. A couple of weeks ago when I threw my back out after karate, this roll-on, roll-out CBD freeze roll-on has helped to dull the pain tremendously. And I highly endorse and recommend John Burke's Shell Shock CBD products that you can get today at a 10% discount if you use code AP4Liberty. That's AP the number 4, AP4Liberty. Now, not everything that's in the shop at Shell Shock CBD is CBD or Delta-8. Obviously, Delta-8 is what you take if you want to have a psychedelic experience. The CBD, of course, is non-psychoactive, so just typical pain relief. But Stephanie, you really like the multivitamins and things like that they have over there.
Yeah, I like the apple cider vinegar, elderberry, and then the other one that I take is ashwagandha. Yes, so it's like those do not have CBD in them at all. They're just, purely to help you with your immune system.
Is that what it's for? Apple cider vinegar? I never noticed about this. Like usually you take it, if you take a shot of apple cider vinegar, it tastes like hell. But you really like these because they don't taste bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Usually apple cider vinegar literally like burns your esophagus. But in terms of health benefits of it, I always thought it's good for detox, but let me see here. Apple cider vinegar benefits. I know these things just help to build your immune system in general, and they have all of the good things. So let's see. Okay, so it says it may help your blood sugar levels. It may aid in weight loss, reduce belly fat, balance cholesterol. So it just kind of like helps your body's equilibrium, basically.
So we want to endorse and recommend shellshockcbd.com. Visit them today. If you're looking for something that's going to make you feel crimson and clover over and over, the Delta-8 products are definitely very strong. Remember how much McDonald's I ate the other day?
I do.
Was it last week or was it the week before?
Weeks ago.
Weeks ago, I took a Delta-8 gummy on the show, and it took a couple hours to kick in. Unfortunately for the audience, because they didn't get to see.
Yes,
but
I got to see.
We went to McDonald's, and it was like that moment between breakfast and lunch when it changed over. So we ate breakfast and I ate lunch.
The homeless man in McDonald's got to see this.
Even the homeless man in McDonald's got to see it. Yes, maybe we'll go there today too. But if you don't want to get the munchies, then they've got awesome CBD products as well for pain relief. So check out shellshockcbd.com. Get that 10% discount by using code AP4Liberty. That's also how they track to know that Austin is actually doing his job.
That's right.
And that's shellshockcbd.com. Use code AP4Liberty. 100% money back guarantee if you don't like what you got. Order today. There's completely risk free, because if you don't like it and it doesn't work for you, guess what? You can say, Austin, you're full of crap, and I don't believe you, and I'm sending it back to get my money back, and they will give you back your money, full refund. So there's no risk right there.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Stephanie, what else do we have for him today? What other fun topics do we have on the show? How to let go.
Oh, and we have to sing Fly Me to the Moon. What time is it?
Fly me to the moon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We have about 30 minutes, and then
10 things we all hold on to long after it's time to let go.
Oh, and the nostalgia thing.
We are going to get to the nostalgia thing. Let's blaze through this 10 quotes for letting go of how life should be.
Okay.
For those who are just tuning into the show, make sure that you click that like button. I see we've got almost 50 people over at rumble.com. What's up?
Hello.
Nice to see you guys. Do me a favor, if you're signed in to rumble.com, are you signed in to rumble.com? Click that like button over there on the feed. I know it's tough to find it, but it's over in the far left. Click that like button if you don't mind. And then if you're not subscribed, underneath the live chat right there, there's that big red subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button and you should be able, that's a different subscribe button. That's a give me $5 a month subscribe button. You can actually do like monthly memberships. Just so you know, for anybody who is a monthly member, and I think we have one on Rumble, if you're subscribed with like the $5 a month perks, or anybody who's a monthly subscriber to the show gets a 20% discount at AP for Liberty Shop. Just
and
FYI.
You get entered into drawings for winning a prize at the end of the month.
Which we are going to do today on the show. We are going to pick a random monthly subscriber to win a free product from apforlibertyshop.com. So stick around to the end of the show to find out if you won, if you are a monthly subscriber. So should be fun. All right. So 10 things that you need 10 things we all hold on to long after it's time to let go. Okay. One is that the way that things should be right now. I struggle with this a lot, right? So like, I feel as if I'm not where I need to be in my career or in my personal life or here or there, right? Everybody struggles with this, right? That there's a way that things are, and then there's a way that things should be.
Right.
But we can't control that, right? To an extent.
Right, you can't. I always say, do what's within your control.
Right. So
who is your ideal self? What steps can you take today to get there?
Yeah. And where you ultimately end up is dependent on how you play the hands you've been dealt. Right. And sometimes you don't get dealt good hands in life, right? A lot of it
literally just can't help it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Next, Anna Bananarama joining us this morning. Good to see you. Hi, Anna. Smalls 5000 joining us for
Vicky Smalls.
What looks to be the very first time, I think. Smalls, nice to see you, brother.
Hello.
Yep, glad to have you here. Of course, all of our friends over on Rumble as well, like Will Run Riot, One Patriot Listener, One Kitty 556, King on Common Law.
And I don't know. That
Reich is here as well. So a bunch of our friends are over on Rumble today as well. Glad to have you here. We're talking right now about things that you hold on to long after it's time to let go. The number 2 is the way that things used to be. That's a tough one. Nostalgia.
Used to be that way, but now that I like my life, I really don't think about the past very much. And it's kind of nice.
Well, because a lot of people would like to see their life go back to a way it was.
I know.
That's not the same for you, because you don't want to go back to the way things were.
Because I wasn't as happy and confident as I am now. Although I'm sure when I'm 80 years old, I'll be like, oh gosh, I wish I could go back to Japan. I wish I could go back to the Wake Up America show. Unless we're still filming it when we're 80.
For sure. I mean, like, who knows how long the Wake Up America show will last, right? Because it's like, there's no network that will cancel me, right? The only thing that could cancel the Wake Up America show is if our sponsors leave and if the audience doesn't buy any more of our merchandise. If you leave, right? So like it's not like we have a humongous audience, right? Like there's probably between all the networks maybe 100, 200 people watching us right now if you count Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku. But even if they all go, if there's a small group of dedicated viewers who support us financially, that's all we need, right?
It's quality,
right?
Not
And
quantity.
we'll go as long as we can, and as long as we're being supported. So But the way things used to be, the funny thing is that like. I maybe I shouldn't say this, but like I really have in some ways, even though I've had struggles and trials and tribulations, I've had a charmed life in many ways.
Yeah.
And I was very happy before I met you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm happier now than I was before I met you, because I just didn't really know what a committed marital relationship would be like. Of course, you can't until you're in it.
Yeah.
And
Same here. I mean, I never thought I'd get married. I didn't think it was possible to find your forever person.
People don't like to hear stories of happiness and love. They want to hear terrible, like, disaster, destruction, and submarines imploding and all that stuff. But so
it's like if our life fell apart. Yeah, come back to us if our life falls apart and ask us if we miss the past.
Sure. And like
it's like I'm sure we would.
Things aren't always like, like hearts and flowers. Like, I know that this may sound trivial, but like there's this big project that I've been working on that I've been working on for like a month and a half, and it just totally imploded, right? Like the submarine, right? The TikTok thing I was working on.
Yeah.
Completely, spent hours and hours and hours, completely, failed and all that stuff. I thought it was maybe going to be something that was going to really help us to succeed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we struggle every day to make sure that the business is staying afloat, because God damn, it is hard to do this independently and succeed at doing what we're doing here. Right?
It's hard to grow. Sometimes I miss my old career, and I'm like, I was so good at it. I was so comfortable.
I know, right? Sometimes
I'm challenging myself, and it's so hard.
Yeah,
it's like I'm growing.
It's like when our health insurance bill comes and it's not subsidized by any company because we don't work for somebody else. Like every month, like I sweat, you know what I mean? To try and like, not only because it's so expensive to run this business, just to pay for like all of the internet things that we have to pay for on a monthly basis to run this show. It's thousands of dollars, right? There's so many different costs. And then when something breaks here, like when one thing breaks here at the show, it's like $1,000.
I know.
Right? We walked in and the light had fallen over.
My ring light that I bought for my YouTube channel.
Nobody wants to hear us complain, but anyways, so it's just life isn't all peaches and cream for AP and Steffi, to be honest. We've got
we have loss.
Yeah.
Sad days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can text the show, by the way, if you want to have your opinion heard, at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Smalls 5000 chimed in. He says he's been watching for a few weeks now, just rarely chat because he's usually in the office. He started working from home, so now I can have y'all up on the big screen. That's awesome.
It's awesome.
That's cool. And yeah, how do we look on the big screen, brother? Handsome? You want to date me, don't you?
You date him, not me. I'm taken.
The nice thing about
you are taken too.
Yeah, that's true. the nice thing about watching us on the big screen, though, is you can actually like read the chat versus the mobile where it's too small. So
nice.
Yeah, and we do stream it in full HD, so it should look pretty nice. Number 3, past mistakes and errors in judgment. So it's hard to forgive yourself for the bad decisions you made in the past. And I have made some bad decisions, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I used to really have trouble with that. But then I learned in my head, I said, you know what? My brain of today is not the same as my brain of yesterday or years ago. So I cannot look at my past mistakes with the same magnifying glass as I have today because it's just, I'm different. I've grown. I've learned skills. And so you have to forgive yourself. You can't turn back time. It's impossible.
I'm built different. Number 4, a burning desire to control the controllable. If you can fix a problem, fix it. If you can't, accept it. Change your thoughts about it. Whatever you do, don't attempt to invest more energy than you have, tripping over something behind you or something that only exists inside your head. Tough thing to do, because you always want to try and control something, and then you realize I can't control it, and you still want to, right? This desire to try and change circumstances. It's not easy.
Oh yeah, my sister's motto is, if you can't change it, don't worry about it, and if you can, fix it.
The fantasy of a perfect path or time to begin.
Oh, I used to always be that way. I was like, I'm not ready yet. I have to wait for the right opportunity. Like with chickens, for example, I'm kind of getting that way with chickens. I've always wanted chickens my whole life, but I'm waiting for the perfect moment to get chickens.
Well, King Common Law says, when I met my girl, she wrapped her legs around me and tucked her titties in my back, sitting on a bare fender with no passenger pegs. We rode off together, and here we are, 37 years later, still doing it. Hell yeah.
I bet you don't miss the past. You probably love your life.
Hell no, he's not looking past.
Yeah.
He's not looking in the past.
Oh, yeah.
The next, thanks, King Common Law. We hope you'll come back and join us again.
That's awesome.
We've got a crowd gathering over on Rumble this morning. It's nice to see. We're talking about right now about 10 quotes for letting go of life, how life should be, right? How we think life should be. Another one is the need for constant comfort and ease. And we were talking about this with your patients. right? Your therapy patients
Mm-hmm.
that like they can't understand that it's impossible to be happy all the time.
Yes, like any little thought that they have, they're like, how can I fix this? How can I get rid of it? You know, and I'm just like, some things it's okay to be afraid of.
Right. Like
it's okay to be worried about certain things.
They constantly obsess over things that are bothering them. And it's like, you can't, there's no way to go through life without there being some pain and suffering or problems or struggles.
It's just because in this world we have a pill and a solution for everything, but it's like you just can't get a pill for life.
Yes. Nomad John says we appreciate the show. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Yep.
He's on Rumble too.
He's on YouTube. He's like part of the Cantina crew, right? The need for constant comfort and ease. That's an interesting.
I mean, I do like comfort. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Right, and it's like, whenever I start to feel like some pain or something, whatever, like I take a pill. So I assume that if there's some other problem in this world, that there's some kind of quick and easy fix or what have you. But there isn't. There just isn't a lot of times, and you're supposed to not feel good all the time. Right. As a matter of fact, your body regulates it because I'm like a typically pretty happy person, and sometimes I'll feel like bouts of depression, or just like sadness or what have you, or just not feeling good or whatever. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, how do I fix this? I should be feeling good right now. Blah blah blah. Everything's fine.
Right? Are you diagnosed with depression now?
No, and I don't need to go see.
I don't think so.
No, what it is that it's like your body is like, you know what? We can only sustain so much dopamine for so long.
Right.
Your body's just going to even out, be like, we're out of oxytocin today. You're just going to have a bad day.
Yeah, if you didn't get enough sleep, enough exercise, didn't eat right, like whatever it is.
This one's kind of like motivational for like maybe a children's book. The idea that you don't have what it takes. Right? Every difficult life situation can be an excuse for hopelessness or an opportunity for growth, depending on what you choose to do with it. So playing the cards as they're dealt, right? Right. A lot of like poker enthusiasts will appreciate that as well.
I mean, it's about believing in yourself. It's really hard to believe in yourself. Imposter syndrome, I would say, happens in everybody.
For sure. Smalls 5,000 and you would probably get along with it.
Really?
He says, being someone that doesn't do anything without overthinking, letting go is not an easy thing to do, but it's necessary for growth, either as a better person or if you decide to use it as your villain origin. That's hilarious.
I know. I want to spend a day in somebody's shoes who does not overthink and who's just like, I'm going to do.
That's me. You want to swap with me for a day?
Yes.
Because I am not an overthink it person. I am a ready, fire, aim person.
If I were in your body, I'd probably run for president and I'd win.
Exactly.
And,
you probably would win because you're much more likable than I am.
Yes.
Exactly. Why did you run for president of the United States, Austin? Well, because I didn't really think about it. I didn't overthink it. I just
like all of my inhibitions would go away if I were in your body. I'd just be like,
well, and then it's like, once you've done that, once you've like mounted an actual sincere, legit, like run, like go all over the country and give speeches to crowds, campaign for president, like all the way to the nomination thing. After that, everything else is just kind of like, what's the next challenge? You know what I mean? Like what can you do after that that's really going to like give you the adrenaline that you need? And it turns out, the next is filming a documentary, right? Because there's a lot of risk involved in this. It could fail, right? It could, lots of things could go wrong, So I mean, that's that's my next big adventure. Number 8, relationships that make us feel less like ourselves.
Oh, we hold on to those. Yeah, I mean, I held on to one for a long time.
Let others take you as you are or not at all. Boy, it's hard. That's hard in my position because...
Is that a separate one? Are these two different thoughts?
No, so being yourself, you put something beautiful into the world that was not there before. And we've got to take a brief little detour and say thank you to Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend.
Oh, hi.
Who just dropped $20.
Oh my gosh.
That's
are you?
That's transformational money for us because that really does change the outcome for us, because when we get those kinds of donations and those things, they really add up. So thank you very much for that.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, tell us about yourself, Burnt Toast, because we've seen you a little bit now and you've been very generous with us.
Do you like burnt toast?
Yeah. Do you like Space Girlfriends? We'd love to hear a little bit more about you, especially our donors and things like that. So we'd be super grateful to you. And don't forget that we are giving away a free item from AP for Liberty shop to our monthly subscribers this month too. So stick around to the end of the show. Okay. Number 9, old chapters in our lives that are still lingering half open. Right?
Old chapters that are lingering half open. I don't know if I have a chapter that's like half open.
Really? You don't have like an ex that you still pine
no.
for or anything like that?
That's why I am not friends with any exes.
Mm-hmm.
I've always told you that. I just don't think it's healthy for me.
Right.
It's like, why are you talking to an ex? Where is that getting you? What benefit?
Right. Sometimes people are in your lives for the whole story.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the people, they're just a short chapter or two.
Yeah.
Right. And it's okay for somebody to not be like a main character in your life, even if you still like love them and remember them fondly.
Yeah. I always say, like, you meet everybody to teach you something or help you do something. Like, everybody comes in for a reason in your life. And sometimes you don't really know why until you've gone through your life and you can look back and be like, whoa, why did that person come in? Yeah. It's like I've had some really random friendships, but it's like those little blips, they really helped me deal with something in particular that really helped me grow a lot. Yeah.
If you're just tuning the Wake Up America show, good morning. Glad to have you here. We are super grateful for all of your support. And if you're following us this morning and enjoying the show, make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel that you're watching us on today. Not only are you going to get great content and a great show 5 days a week to get to start your day, but you're also helping to spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty, which is what we advocate for here on this show. Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend jumped in and said, my name is Jamie. I've been following AP since he ran for Prezi, and I do love burnt toast. That's cool.
Jamie.
Welcome, Jamie. We're grateful to have you here. Thank you for your support over the years, and we appreciate your financial support as well. It helps keep us going. One Patriot Listener 1 over on Rumble dropped $10 in there.
People drop money in there?
Yeah, he did. He did a $10 donation. That's big.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I just noticed the dollar sign, but I never really saw people use it. So that's really cool.
Basically, our followers are saying to themselves, Austin and Stephanie, you're doing a great show, and we appreciate you very much.
So do you like us being vulnerable? Is that what it is?
When we talk about our feelings and things like that. Family Friday is always a little bit different.
Bad for us?
If this is like your first time watching the Wake Up America show, Family Friday is always a little bit touchy-feely, just so you know.
It's because the girl is in the room.
Stephanie, my wife, is here, obviously, which makes me more vulnerable because she could obviously say like my secrets or, say it would do things that could really, get on my nerves if she wanted to.
You could trust me.
No, of course I trust her completely. That's why I bring her on. But Family Friday is a little bit different than our typical show, which is a little bit more news and interview focused and things like that. Thank you for the donations.
Yeah, thank you.
One Patriot Listener. We appreciate you very much.
Surprise. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a good audience.
Really?
Yeah, a good sized audience as well. So thank you for that. And
wow.
So number 9, old chapters in our lives that are still lingering half open.
So yeah, do you have any of those old chapters?
It's hard to say. I mean, my story is like the tale of Gilgamesh, right? It's a long and sweeping epic with many, there's you could have volumes of each generation of my life and the different things that occurred within a 10-year period.
Yeah.
And then you could say, oh, there's all these things that happened within a 5-year period. And when I think about what things that are lingering half open, there are things that I wish I could go back and do over, right? I think that's probably anybody that feels that way. But I don't know. Sometimes you want to you have to embrace goodbye.
I'm not good at saying goodbye.
Yeah, you're not good
even
at that.
to my ex, I don't think I ever actually said goodbye. I just kind of stopped talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't like to say goodbye to people because I'm I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day they'll need my help or something if they're in a crisis. So it's I never like to So I guess, I never like to completely close that door and send a goodbye letter and all that.
We're going to have an interesting experience on Saturday because we're going to go to I've never been to an alumni thing from my college, right? But my musical theater days are so violently different from my current
I know.
days. So a lot of people from high school and college days kept up with me because you can see on social media, whatever.
Oh, you got a lot of friends.
Yes, but here's the thing. A lot of those people from my previous career and previous life despise me.
Even though they're your friend?
They were my friend.
Oh.
But they despise me now.
Really?
Yes.
So we're going to meet people who don't like you?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
There's a
I didn't know this was happening.
There's a possibility for some uncomfortable conversations on Saturday.
We're going to have to talk about this. This is interesting.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, boy.
Because they saw that I ran for Senate. They saw that I ran for president.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, the majority of people who are in the creative arts are leftists and communists, and they don't like my position on guns, right?
So it's more like political.
It's political.
Okay.
Yeah, they despise me because of that, because of my politics.
Yeah, so it's not like you did something to them. You were just thinking a certain way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They don't like I committed thought crimes for a lot of them. Yeah. So Saturday will be interesting when we go to the alumni event for my college. So we'll see what people have to say. But I mean, you never know.
Oh gosh.
Maybe they'll be nice.
There might be people like rioting and holding up signs. AP, leave.
Yeah, for sure. Buddy Mansour says, "You ran for Senate? ? Answer: Yes. It was that forgettable."
He certainly did. I mean, that's how I met him.
People born before 1990 are now sharing their now useless but 100% nostalgic skills. Are we ready for the next topic?
This sounds fun. Yep.
Yes. People born before 1990 are sharing their now useless but 100% nostalgic skills, right? So millennials, like that's us. You're a millennial, Stephanie, right? We're talking about real life memories from 20 years ago club, right?
Mm-hmm. So millennial is what, 1981 to 1990 something?
Something, yes.
Something like
right.
that.
So you're a millennial, I'm a millennial,
Okay.
right? So it's kind of odd for us to start sentences, but with when I was young, but we can, right? Or back in my day, right? We're at the age where we can say things like back in my day, right?
Yeah.
Right. So things have changed a lot, right? And so it's time for us to talk about some good old nostalgia. We're talking about things for people that were born before 1990. What trivial skill do you possess that no one uses anymore?
Oh, I can do bubble letters.
What the hell's a bubble letter?
Where you write, so if you write like an S, you write it in like it looks 3D. Like you write the big letters, almost like it was made on like Photoshop.
Yes. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I never learned how to do that because I'm not a girl.
Yeah.
Katie.
And get a guy, get a go. Okay. Double G.
What's that?
Okay. What a gut, at a gar, yid a goo, did a gooing.
Is this like Pig Latin?
It's it's like Pig Latin. Double G. So it's like you add G's to everything you're saying.
What the hell
It's a secret language. Yeah. It's like Elvish. Yeah.
It's like Elvish.
I can't believe I remember how to speak it. That's awesome.
All right. Here's
awesome. Yeah.
Atagawesome.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Katie556 over Rumble. She's got a couple. She says that we knew how to roll down a window. Remember that?
I don't know if we had cars like that.
Did you ever you never had to roll down a window in a car?
Our windows were automatic.
So, when somebody would like pull up to you and be like this, roll down your window and stuff like that, you never had to.
I'm a little too young.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. We were born in 1988. All right.
Yep.
I remember I had cars where you had to roll a window down in them. It'd be like, so if your friend pulled up to you next to your car, they'd be like, instead of being like this,
right,
they would go like this. Nowadays,
kids would be like, "What the heck are they doing? Are they like spinning something around?"
Yeah, for sure.
What?
So, do you know what a rotary phone is, Stephanie?
Oh, I did not have one, but I had a play one. Yeah, it's where you like spin it around with the numbers.
Do you think that if I gave you a phone number and a rotary phone, that you would be able to dial that number?
I think I kind of have an idea. What is it? You put your finger on the number and then you move it to the right, and then as it completely goes around in the clockwise position, then do you do the other number and then do that? So is that kind of how you do it?
Yes. Yeah, that's how you do it. So you are old enough to like...
I've never done it though.
Yeah. Nelson65 says, use a ringer washer. What's a ringer washer?
I didn't have
Is that
those.
where you like wring out your clothes? Is that where you like kind of like scrub it?
Like an old school washer.
Nowadays they just use them like an instrument for like bluegrass bands and stuff like that.
Right.
I have no idea.
I haven't used that.
No clue.
That might be more of a, what is that, Gen X?
Maybe,
Yeah.
or older. John Rail says he's 50, but he feels like he's 21. You look like you're 21.
John,
he says,
I am so proud of you.
I know. Are we proud of him?
You shared recently about, all of the health things that you've been doing and the improvements that you've been experiencing, and I am just so inspired by it.
We're really proud of you, man. Congratulations, man. We appreciate you very much. All right, next on the list of people born before 1990. What trivial skill do you possess that no one uses anymore? How about folding a map?
I don't. I mean, what? Aren't there creases in it already?
Yes, but you think that it's just because there's creases you would know how to fold it up. And also knowing where to find a map.
Nowadays,
where would you find a map?
I would probably go to a gas station or to a rest area.
Did you ever print out maps and follow maps, like paper maps?
On MapQuest.
So you used to use paper maps.
I used MapQuest, but I used the directions where it says turn right after 50 feet.
Right.
So I read the words.
So I remember when I drove to New York City for the very first time from Missouri when I was in college. I drove to New York City in my 1994 Camaro with T-tops. And I was with my girlfriend at the time and my college buddies because we were going to produce a play in New York.
Yeah.
And we printed out MapQuest for the trip all the way there, and then you had to print it out for all the way back. So to get to New York for a 21-hour drive from Springfield, Missouri to New York City.
I mean, you were probably out of paper at that point.
Dude, it was for like 50 pages.
It's like we're low on ink.
Exactly. in order to do it. But I could probably still use a map.
So you actually more so just looked at the map, not at the words.
Mm-hmm. You would look at the map, and if you were lucky, you had a passenger who would help you. But otherwise, if you were on your own, you would have to like hold the map on the steering wheel and be kind of like,
Yes, I used to have to turn the light on in my car like late at night when I was trying to navigate.
Camaros are douche mobiles, says Chris Moore. What?
So T-top, is that where like it opens like a Lamborghini?
No, so kind of, right? So so basically instead of it being like a convertible with like the top being down, it's just the sides. So there's like two windows on the top and you just remove those windows.
Nice.
You take them off completely.
So did you drive with the windows out?
Oh, hell yeah, all the time. Dude.
Hair blowing in the wind.
Yeah, my spiky hair, all I had in 1999 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It was fun. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing that people born before 1990 have useless skills of was memorizing phone numbers.
I know a few phone numbers.
You still do.
It's funny because there's like a few phone numbers that like I'll never forget. It's like their numbers like, from my childhood homes. My grandparents' phone number that no longer exists. So it's just like there's certain ones that you're like, if I forgot this, it would probably be really bad.
Yeah, it's nostalgia. Using a Oregon Trail on a 5 1/4 floppy disk, says Katie 556. Yeah. That was good. I loved Oregon Trail, man.
Oregon Trail.
My favorite was always when you would get to hunt like the buffalo or whatever.
Same.
And you would get the gun and you would like shoot it with a little pixel and stuff.
I know.
Yeah. King Common Law says, good show. Glad I found you folks. We're glad you found us, brother.
Hey, how did you find us?
Yeah, I'd be curious. How did you find us, King Common Law? If you're watching us this morning for the first time, weigh in on the comments. Tell us how you found us.
Yeah.
Was it just because we were on the front page of Rumble or whatever, or what have you? I'd be curious if you're new, how you found out about us. We heard about Smalls 5000 and Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend, but we'd love to hear from King Common Law and others. So Levin 2214 said, I still remember my best friend's home phone number. Yeah. They also say I was a big print out directions from MapQuest guy. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
King Common Law was Rumble surfing. That's how they found us. Cool, man.
Nice.
Cool. Well, we're glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and giving us a chance.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. We can't promise that you'll always agree with everything that we have to say because we're not normal on the Wake Up America show. Like a lot of conservative talk show hosts typically fall into one side or the other, but we're libertarians, which means we're kind of weird, right?
Random.
Kind of random. Like some of the stuff you're going to hear from us is going to be kind of like, what the hell are they talking about? So just don't be surprised if you hear something one day on the show and you're like, what the fuck? Just stick around. It'll even itself out, right?
Don't worry. We know what we're doing.
Exactly. All right. When we used to advertise local phone numbers, *557, you just knew the rest.
Oh, *557.
Yeah.
What is that again?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Does that thing still exist? *67, where you can call a number and be anonymous?
No idea. I have no.
Because I remember that was a thing.
Yeah, Blue Trike says that they've been following us on and off since I ran for president. That's cool.
Wow. Yeah, Blue Trike. I know you've been here for a while.
Levin 214 found us from John Burke. Boy, we love John.
Thanks nice.
We appreciate John a lot. Katie 556 on Oregon Trail, her nostalgia. She said you would shoot a squirrel and you'd get 3 pounds of meat. LOL. Maybe 3 pounds of meat.
Yeah, it's like, is there really that much meat in the squirrel?
Yeah, for sure.
About it. We didn't question it.
No, we didn't. We just loved being able to play Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
We're talking right now about things that skills that people have who are born before 1990, which no one has anymore before. These are useless skills. And remember when you used to answer the house phone? Somebody like, get the phone,
Yes.
pick up the phone, it's like somebody like, or you had to like run inside the house.
Yelling in the house. Yeah.
And I still remember like getting in trouble with my dad, mom screaming up at me because I'm on, the dial-up modem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It would be like, here. And
then you can't answer the phone.
And I'm like, I'm trying to download a bikini picture of Cindy Crawford, and it takes 30 minutes to download this stinking bikini photo.
Right.
And my mom is downstairs picking up the phone, and it screwed up the download, so you weren't able to download the GIF, right? So it's like, so that was always terrible.
Oh, yeah. I do remember like back in the early 90s downloading my very first online boyfriend's photo, and it literally just like started very slowly showing his face little by little.
Do you remember when everybody would get like the 100-foot phone cords? And it would be like, in order for you to like, you'd be like walking around in different parts of the house, but your phone cord was like all the way to the kitchen.
My family had cordless phones. We had a lot of cordless phones. So maybe it was like, probably more in the 90s that we did that.
Yeah. Affectionate Bite says, I got in so much trouble for stretching the phone cord into the bathroom for some privacy. Accidentally clotheslined grandma. She laughed about it, but mom was pissed.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, remember you used to like hold the phone up to your ear like that?
I still do that with my cell phone. Do you not do that with your cell phone?
No, I just...
Yeah. No, Did you see me cooking last night and I was talking to my mom and I was like that?
Yeah, but just put it on speakerphone.
Oh, no. I don't like that unless I'm really alone. I do not have my Bluetooth connected in my car because I don't like people to call me through my car.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's weird.
All right.
Yeah.
Knowing the exact name of every Crayola color because we only had so many. Now, I remember...
I don't know the colors.
See, the thing is, I remember being a little kid and they had like the box of like 75 crayons, but the best one, the one that every kid wanted, was the one that had the... What do you call it? In the crayon box.
Oh, the
sharpener. Yes. Do you guys remember sharpeners and crayon boxes?
Yeah.
Those were awesome, man.
Because it's not the same as a pencil sharpener. It has to be a little bigger.
A little bigger, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you you knew you were a cool kid, was when you showed up with the crayon box with the sharpener.
Did you have like the very large crayon box with like the 50 colors in it?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it had the sharpener in there, so you were dead serious.
The ones that are scented. Did you have those?
Maybe, but
markers.
Scented markers, yes. And do you remember scented stickers?
Oh, yeah.
And they smelled like pizza. Do you remember pizza scented stickers?
Probably did have that.
Does anybody
it's a
remember
distant
pizza
memory.
Stickers? I don't know.
Yummy.
Answering machines, I remember those. Calling to find the time and weather, yes.
Oh, calling to find out about movie times.
Calling movie times, yes, for sure. Banana phones, yes, I remember those. And then party lines. Did you ever call a party line?
I didn't have
so
that.
So that was probably an 80s kid thing for sure. Like you would call in and everybody would be like partying and having a chat and stuff like that. And then there were 1-900 numbers.
Could you do conference calls back then?
I don't remember.
Like how would you talk to multiple people at once? I don't know.
I don't remember. All right. We're talking about useless skills that people have that were born before 1990. Right. The art of the mixtape.
I had cassettes.
I remember I used to be like very suave with the ladies, and like if I really wanted to try and like get a girl like that I was talking to and really get her heart, make a mixtape or a mix. Really, at the time I was doing it was mixed CD.
Yeah, CDs.
So it's like these songs
CD mixes
remind me of you. Like,
I know.
Dude, the girls would just be like,
oh yeah. And especially you were in a band.
I was in a band.
So what if you put your own song on it?
I would never record the song that I wrote onto a CD and play for anyone ever now, because now I kind of look back and it's cringe.
You sang it for me the other day. I thought it was great.
I did. I have not sang that song for over 20 years. It's probably since college since I sang that song, right? Mixtapes, those were skills, being able to make
mixtape the same thing as a cassette tape?
Same thing, yeah. It's mixtape, mixed CD, whatever you want to call it, or anything like that, right? It's pretty good.
No, we have to sing a song and we have to give away a gift. We can't do that. No.
My wife is saying I can't go.
I mean, usually I don't tell you what to do, but for the sake of these people out here.
Do have to cut off the stream for Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. That's okay. They know that the show ends at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So if you're watching us on Apple TV, Fire TV, or Roku right now, and you want to see us continue and have a little bit more goofiness for a few more minutes, then join us either on YouTube or on Rumble at AP4 Liberty. AP, the number 4, AP4 Liberty. We're going to do a little bit of extended bonus segment here for just a few minutes. So if you're watching us over there, I do have to cut off the stream because it's 9 a.m. and we've got other people who need a slot. So we'll see you over on YouTube or Rumble, AP for Liberty, and then we'll see you, of course, on Monday. If not, all right. Have a good one. We'll see you later, Voxcast. We'll see you later, Spreely friends. Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku. Yes, the television people. All right. We turned off that source for them.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, we don't want to get
it's like we can't be like politicians and have broken promises, you know? That's not what we're here for.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we need to give away something from the AP for Liberty shop. We need to do a gift, and I'm going to choose at random. Now, in order to be eligible, you have to be a monthly subscriber.
Bloop, bloop, bleep, bleep, blop, blop.
Yes.
As our computer system selecting.
Here it is. And the winner for today is Leslie Scott Russell. Congratulations.
Leslie Scott Russell. Yay.
Leslie, congratulations. And I will let her know that she can pick out an article of clothing or keychain or Buddha from the AP for Liberty shop.
That's awesome.
So congratulations, Leslie Scott Russell. So in order for you to be eligible for our free giveaway contest every month, then all you got to do is be a monthly subscriber. You can be a $2.99 a month subscriber on YouTube. You can be a $17.76 a month Petersen's Patriots. And the way to do that, how do we sign up to be a member of Petersen's Patriots, Stephanie?
All right, you go to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. And then you find Petersen's Patriots. And then you fill out all your information with your credit card and stuff. And then you're subscribed.
Right.
And you have other options too. You can do a one-time donation. You can do other tiers of memberships, paying less money, paying more money. And if you become as Petersen's Patriots, that's $17.76. But then there's another one that's like $20 a month. And if you do that, then we'll send you a free keychain.
Yes.
But no matter what, subscribing gets you a 20% off coupon, and it gets you entered into a drawing for prizes every month. And so it's pretty cool. And you'll get our holiday card at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
A very exclusive list.
Alrighty, so Leslie Scott Russell just got her email, apforlibertyshop.com. There you go. So she is a winner. So monthly subscribers are entered to win. If YouTube takes like a percentage of like donations and subscriptions and things like that. So if you want to be a monthly subscriber and make sure that 100% of it goes to us, do it at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. And here's the thing: if you do sign up for it, make sure that you contact us to let us know for sure that you get your coupon code, right?
Your coupon code, and if you're the $20 a month one, then we get you a keychain.
Yeah,
too.
just make sure that you contact us so that you get what's owed to you, because then you are a 20% discount at the AP for Liberty shop. So monthly subscribers get lots of benefits, prize drawings, all kinds of stuff. I gave away an actual literal AK-47 a couple of months ago.
You really did.
Yeah, so like we do sometimes give away like big gifts and prizes and things like that too. So just small investment, $2.99 a month over on YouTube or $17.76 a month over at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. All right, what's next, Stephanie?
We have to sing.
Do I have to sing? My voice
I mean, I'll sing by myself if I have to.
Do you want to sing it?
Yeah.
Do you know how the song goes?
I have to look up the lyrics.
Well, let me pull up. I'll tell you what. I'll pull up the YouTube clip of the song. The audience won't be able to hear the song.
Okay.
But we will, and that way we'll be on key. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up right now. Fly Me to the Moon.
All right, let's get in the singing position. You got to have your feet flat on the floor.
Yep, we owe
your
this
back straight.
We owe this to Kermode Bear.
We owe it.
Are we ready? All right, I'm going to pull up the lyrics. Let me pull up
massage the face
lyrics. Here we
to
go.
loosen up the muscles. I used to take voice lessons. I'm sure you took a lot of voice lessons.
Yeah,
did you used to massage your face?
No, I did
Did your
not.
teacher massage your face? Because mine did.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Are you ready here, Stuffy?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is going to be our goodbye song.
Okay. All right.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In baby, kiss me.
Okay, we're gonna go higher. I'm switching my range
with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Hard one to sing, actually, in terms of how high or low it is. Because if you go higher,
fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching the show
that
today.
That was tough for me. Sorry, guys. It was messing with my normal range here.
We just sang it with acapella. We didn't have anything like that. Yeah,
oh,
yeah, exactly.
That was embarrassing. Am I gonna be on like the worst American Idol tryouts
You're
ever?
gonna end up on that show. Yeah. But we do actually sing some songs well. But
we really do.
It's not that we didn't rehearse it or anything like that.
I know. Prove myself one day.
It's like our friend over on Rumble is realizing today for the first time that it's just weird. That was brutal.
It's horrible.
Thanks so much, Nelson65, Levin214, Just Via, our new friends, Katie556, King Common Law, all of us people. If you're watching us on Rumble, make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel before you leave. Quest Fanning, thanks so much for the super chats. Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend as well.
I hope Kermode Bear is happy because that was honestly Kermode Bear's request. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Barney Styles, thank you very much. Camelia Petersen, Joni Rankin, Matt Unruh, John Rail, and Smalls 5000. It was nice to meet you here today. We appreciate you very much, all of our friends. So don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. On your way out the door, grab yourself some Sweet Freedom merch, and we'll see you on Monday.
Be free.
Free. See you tomorrow. Or Monday on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com. Dance us out, Steph.